I wanna get to know you. I wanna get you. You say I remember nothing to do. So baby, pull up tonight. Pull up tonight, baby. Pull up tonight. I wanna get lost. I wanna get to know you. I wanna see you. And we can try and play, but you know it fall through. Pull up tonight. Pull up tonight, baby. Pull up tonight. I wanna get lost. We said we'd make up a week ago. But time moves so fast when I'm on the road. I wanna get to know you. I wanna get lost. You say you said it all and you got nothing to do. So baby, pull up tonight. Pull up tonight, baby. Pull up tonight. I wanna get lost. I wanna get to know you. I wanna see you. And we can try and play, but you know it fall through. Baby, pull up tonight. Pull up tonight, baby. Pull up tonight. I wanna get lost. Girl, we can get lit, take a sip. You know you know it with. Turn up, it's my round, baby. If you're down, you work so hard and that's all you know. All you know, yeah, all you know. Tonight, let your head down and just let go. Let go, let go, let go. I wanna get to know you. I wanna get you. You said it all and you got nothing to do. So baby, pull up tonight. Pull up tonight, baby. Pull up tonight. I wanna get lost. I wanna get to know you. I wanna see you. And we can try and play, but you know it fall through. Pull up tonight, pull up tonight, baby, pull up tonight. I wanna get lost. Girl, we can get lit, take a sip. You know who you rolling with. Turn up, it's my round, baby. If you're down, we can get lit, take a sip. You know who you rolling with. Turn up, it's my round, baby. If you're down, if you're down, baby, if you're down. I wanna get to know you. I wanna get you. You say I got nothing to do. So baby, pull up tonight. Pull up tonight, baby. Pull up tonight. I wanna get lost. I wanna get to know you. I wanna see you. And we can try and play, but you know it fall through. Pull up tonight. Pull up tonight, baby. Pull up tonight. I wanna get lost. We said we'd make up a week ago. But time moves so fast when I'm on the road. I wanna get to know you. I wanna get lost. You say you said it all and you got nothing to do. So baby, pull up tonight. Pull up tonight, baby. Pull up tonight. I wanna get lost. I wanna get to know you. I wanna see you. And we can try and play, but you know it fall through. Baby, pull up tonight. Pull up tonight, baby. Pull up tonight. I wanna get lost. Girl, we can get lit, take a sip. You know who you rolling with. Turn up, it's my round, baby. If you're down, you work so hard and that's all you know. The night let your hair down and just let go, let go, let go, let go. I wanna get to know you, I wanna get you. You say you said it all and you got nothing to do. So baby, pull up tonight, pull up tonight, baby, pull up tonight. I wanna get loose, I wanna get to know you, I wanna see you. So we can try your best, but you know it fall through. Pull up tonight, baby, pull up tonight. I wanna get lost. Girl, we can get it, take a sip. You know who you rolling with. Turn up, it's my round, baby. If you're down, girl, we can get it, take a sip. You know who you rolling with. Turn up, it's my round, baby. If you're down, if you're down, baby, if you're down, if you're down, baby, if you're down. I wanna get to know you, I wanna get you. You say you said I ain't got nothing to do. So baby, pull up tonight, baby, pull up tonight. I wanna get lost, I wanna get to know you, I wanna see you. So we can try your best, but you know it fall through.
Hola, mi gente. How are you? Good to see you here early. I told y'all it is 4 p.m. Mama started at 4 p.m. I don't leave y'all waiting. I said I start at 4. I start at 4. Well, on Pacific Coast time. I know on the East Coast at 7 p.m. So I'm glad y'all are here. What's up, Block Stars? Welcome to another episode of On the Block with Jen. I'm happy to see y'all. I'm happy to see y'all, and I hope that we can bring each other smiles tonight. You guys already have me laughing in the chat. Eso, I used to listen to the Spice Girls. I don't anymore. But if it comes on, I'm dance. Okay, I'm a dance. You're not wrong with a Spice Girl. What's up, everybody? What's up, Mo Mama? Well, you guys are in here early. Y'all filling my heart up tonight. I got my water, so I'm ready. I'm ready to augur. Who gonna come augur with me? Because I'm ready to augur about this alpha situation that we hear so much about. Okay. What's up, knowledge and relationships? Haran, good to see you. Oh, Doctrine, me, I'm Moda Jabari's in the building. Mr. O is just living. DRH19D. I don't know if you're a doctor. Are you a doctor? If not, I'll just say DR. It could mean Dominican Republic. Either way, welcome, honey. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Also, this will be an open panel tonight. So if you guys disagree or want to rebut, feel free to come up. I did a little research because, you know, I hate being a talking head, okay? A lot of talking heads on YouTube. But, you know, I like to bring y'all a little research all the time, and then we can get into the fun, right? We can have fun and learn at the same time. I have a guest tonight, Brother Ish. He's becoming a favorite in the YouTube streets, and he knows a lot about the alpha situation. He actually corrected me. I am not beyond correction, folks. On those very few times I'm wrong, I can admit it. I can admit when I'm wrong every once a million times. Come on, I could do that. So, but it's because I was taking someone else's information and I didn't cross-reference. And that's usually not me. I was just like, well, you know, I think this person is pretty intellectual. So I'll take whatever they said. And I didn't go through the trouble of doing my own research, but you have to do your own research. That way, when you're parroting people, you don't sound like an ass, right? So I am going to bring up tonight's Brother Ish. How are you, Brother Ish?
Peace. How you doing, Queen? Good to see you.
I'm really, really good. That's what I tell you, because we starting out the Queen. Yes. I'm doing good. I'm feeling good. I'm happy. I'm happy to see my people in the building. I know we've all been experiencing some really, our eyes and our ears have been really trashed for the past couple weeks, seeing a lot of things in our network. And by our network, I mean, like, you know, the pages that we have in our algorithm. Some of us have some friends, you know what I mean, doing certain things and saying certain things online. And some of us just have some friends in the chat. And some of us see people that we can't fucking stand. you know what I mean, on our timeline, but because they're already on our algorithm, we're exposed to this. Some of it is funny, some of it is not. And for everyone listening right now, and I'll repeat this later, tomorrow I will be holding a town hall. And it sounds exactly like what it is. It will be a town hall, okay? Everyone is invited. We are going to dissect everything that we've seen in the YouTube streets, from the toxicity to the ridiculousness to the so-called beef, to the abuse of women, to the lies, to the smoke and mirrors. I'm dissecting all of that on the block with Jen tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific and 7 p.m. Eastern. So if you guys want to get something off your chest, or you just want to say, that ain't player, like Mr. O says, by all means, please be here tomorrow. I'm going to have an initial panel, a really dope panel. It's going to be me. It's going to be Annalicia. It's going to be Juana Chica. I'm going to have the gents up here. I'm going to have Alpha Villain back. I'm going to have Hef back. I'm going to have Mr. O back. Brother Ish will be back. So it's going to be a really, really dope panel. I chose these gentlemen because I believe that they can cut through the smoke and mirrors and tell it like it is. With that said, it will be an open forum. It will be an open panel tomorrow. So tomorrow, be here, por favor, because someone has to make sense of this, and someone has to put everything on the table. And you know what I mean? So tomorrow, all hands on deck. All cards on the table. Tomorrow we're having a town hall on the block with Jen. So I want everybody to pull up, because it's time somebody just comes through and says, hold the fuck up. Okay? No one's doing it. I have volunteered. So join me here tomorrow, guys, please. Okay? It's going to be really good. And, a lot, when I say a lot, I mean an abundance of feelings will be hurt. People will be triggered. I am going to finally break my silence. My name has been being, I've heard my name being thrown around in the YouTube streets of things I didn't say, or reasons that I did things that weren't the correct reason of why I did things. And a lot of you guys have been DMing me and asking me in the comments, what happened? Why did this person say this? I'm going to straighten it out tomorrow. And one thing you know about me, whatever I say behind closed doors, I will say to your face. So it's going to be a really, really good show. And if you want to hear it from me, straight from the horse's mouth, of why certain things happen the way they happen, be here tomorrow. I will be more than happy to tell you. I also have receipts. I'm hoping it doesn't go that far. I'm hoping you guys just know I'm true blue and you take my word for what it is. And you know me, I'm one and done. But it's going to be laid out tomorrow. And you guys are more than welcome to come on up and ask me further questions that I may not cover. But trust me, I am going to cover a lot. Okay. Juana Chica is also going to cover a lot. All right. So the cat's out the bag tomorrow. The cat, the dog, and the frog will be out the bag tomorrow. So I hope you guys are here for it. And I welcome everyone. If you had some sort of beef with me and you want to get that off your chest instead of talking behind my back and embellishing, I welcome everyone. With that said, there are certain people who will not get on the panel tomorrow. So be warned, you may be one of them, okay? And the only reason I will not be letting you up is because I don't want certain people on the panel that need to get their story out, triggered by you, or get into a back and forth with you. So if you had to think and pause for a minute when I just said that, am I one of those people? You're probably one of those people, okay? Tomorrow, my goal is for it to be productive, okay? Keyword productive. It's not going to be a shit fest. It's not going to be a scream fest. We're going to get everything out that we need to get out, because nobody's doing it. Everybody's enjoying the fuckery and toxicity, and people are getting hurt, okay? Families are being targeted. Marriages are being targeted. Women are being cut down and humiliated. And yeah, mama's not having that. So be here tomorrow, 4 p.m. PST, 7 p.m. EST, and we're going to have a good time. Now tonight, a little foreplay for y'all. We're going to talk about alphas, okay? Everybody wants an alpha. Everybody wants the guy at the head of the pack, right? Everybody wants that woman that walks in and commands attention, not only because of her body and her beauty, but because she gets things done. And when she talks, people listen, right? So, the alpha male has a counterpart. So we're asking tonight, you want an alpha, but can you keep an alpha? Ladies, you want that boss, but can you keep a boss? It comes with some things, and it comes with some things that you're not going to like. Okay. So we're going to discuss that tonight. Again, welcome. If you're just coming in the room, I see you guys coming in. I said something very, very important the past 5 minutes, so you guys got to rewind. But I want to welcome everybody. I see your comments. I promise I'm going to try to scroll through them the best I can. What's up, Juana Chica? I see you in the bill. Did you hear your name ringing? Because I mentioned you. Jada LaRue, how are you? Soup Bone, everybody. Okay. All right, guys. So as I said, you can comment. I will catch your comments. So tonight I invited Brother Ish because Brother Ish corrected me when I was discussing this topic, and he's living to tell the tale. He's living to tell the tale.
Yes.
All right, guys. So he corrected me because I did mention this topic to him. Alpha, can you keep one? You want one, but can you keep one? And I started going on my little, tirade of information as I normally do. But Brother Ish knows me already, right? I started going in on because the study started with primates, right? But we're not monkeys, so you can't compare monkeys to human beings. And who the hell man think? And he was like, whoa, hey, it wasn't monkeys. And I was like, what do you mean it wasn't monkey? It was primates, the alpha male, the alpha, like the silverback. No, it was the silverback, right? And he was like, no, that's not where it started. And I was like, oh, gassed. So I want you to tell the people, where and when did the quote unquote alpha male theory begin in animals? Because I didn't know that much. I did know, at least I knew that much. I may have gotten the animal wrong, okay? But I know that the study didn't start with human beings. I knew that it started with animals. I just thought it was primates. But Brother Ish was like, no, sis. And I was like, what you said? So please do tell us, and welcome back, Brother Ish. I know I said a mouthful.
Well, that comes with the package. So it started with the study on wolves, and it was an assessment based upon how they saw the movements of wolves and their behaviors, and even when they're traveling, how the travel patterns and who leads the pack and who follows in the pack. And that's where the term originated from, as far as it goes. Alpha is the head wolf in the wolf pack. So that's where it came from. And then it became colloquialized in identifying the strata regarding male to female, and identifying primary individuals and secondary individuals. It's another approach as well.
Okay, so basically this was one man, one scientist, correct?
Correct.
Right. And it was roundabout, was it 1940 something or sooner than that?
It was right around that time. Yes.
Right around that. So you have to understand, people, but that a lot of the stuff that we parrot and that we entertain and that we choose to use as gospel many years later is usually started by an idea from one man. Right. That's usually how science starts. Right. It's just like something as serious as alpha male, or something as light as love languages. Right. One man woke up one morning and said, oh, I'm going to break love down into 5 languages. Right. And then we've been, judging love and relationships for decades after. Right. So that's something I like keeping in mind. Right. And I like to express to other people that it's like a lot of the stuff that you argue tooth and nail about with other people, I mean, to the death of you, is just a theory that one man had one time. Now, I'm not talking about science. I'm not talking about literally putting liquid together and saying, oh my God, this made hydrogen. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about theories, right? I'm not talking about science. That's different. That's tangible proof, right? Often enough. But, ideologies like love languages and alpha male was an idea. It was just an idea. It was a thought. It was a man looking at animals, wolves specifically, saying, let me study this and let me study which one of them is ruling the roost, so to speak, right? Who's the boss over there? Who's the boss wolf? And then I also read many years later, it was debunked. Was it not?
Correct.
That alpha male in the wolf species was debunked. Mm-hmm. And then I read on and it said basically that it's relative. Like we were studying wolves in captivity. The wolves out in the wild were wild, and they were different, and they were basically in the wild mama wolf and daddy wolf taking care of the baby wolves. So obviously there was that, you know what I mean, that hierarchy and that chain of command where it's like, yeah, I'm the adult, you're the cub, and if there are 10 cubs, I'm going to take care of you. So they're actually more like humans, right, than these weird things that became this alpha, you know what I mean? So that's breaking it down, right? Wait, I got a super chat break. You know, I love me a super chat break. Okay. What's up, Glenn Lawrence? He says, hey, love, send me the link. Okay, I will be dropping the link. Roy Chess says, the term alpha applies to more than just wolves, though. Alpha and humans have more than one context, which needs to be stated. Okay. So Primetime said, hold up now. Alpha ideology is science. It's social science. Okay, but I meant like science, like, okay, this is, you know what I mean, evidence, liquid, it happened. I put this in here and it turned blue. I put red and blue together and it turned
Evidence
purple.
measured, evidence of things that are measured. So with social sciences, you always have to take under assessment the conditions.
Right.
Conditions can alter social behavior between different species. So
correct. So I do believe in social science, by the way. I'm not trying to you know, take away from that, but it is relative. Like specifically with the wolves in captivity were acting very different to the wolves in the wild, right? So we can study both, but we can't say all wolves, right? We got to say, right? That goes for the wolves. Bliss me, how are you, beautiful? Bliss me, I need you tomorrow. I need you tomorrow for the town hall, okay? Because I will be talking about something that I saw happen with you as well. I want all the ladies in the building tomorrow. What's up, April Carter? Yes, so back to what I was saying. So that's basically what happened with the alpha, where it began, but then it was debunked, right? Now, it doesn't matter that it was debunked because humans are going to do what humans do, right? And we take things we hear and we like how they sound, especially when they fit our what? Our favorite word, our narrative, right? We'll keep things alive and going even after they're debunked if they fit our narrative. And as human beings, we do that with everything. We do it with science. We do it with love. We do it with what's the other thing I'm thinking? Relationships. We do it with friendships. We do it. It's like if somebody told us something 10 years ago, it's like, no, that's what it, but it was debunked. I know, but you know, I'm a Capricorn and the horoscope said that Capricorn's X, Y, and Z, right? That's what we do because we like feeling like we belong to groups. And we see it happen with the love languages. No, my love language is this. Meanwhile, that man is loving you, but it's like, no, you got to match my love language, right? So we got to be careful what we consider gospel, right? Or religion to us. So we have to move from that. After the wolves came the men. And the word alpha male regarding humans came into play. Alpha male. And alpha male came to represent, now that was much, much later. The first time alpha male was ever used for a human being, I think was like in the 70s or 80s. Roundabout was the 70s. I think I read it was in the 70s where that began, like the alpha male, the man, you know, the Marlboro guy, right? Because it's used to market and sell things that you know what I mean, the Marlboro guy on the horse with the squinty eyes, right? Who doesn't want to be that guy, right? And what woman doesn't want to be with that guy? So we coined the phrase back then. Why didn't I say we as a human beings? The alpha male, right?
it was also, if I can jump in there, it was also popularized during the 70s when we were going through that trendy period of machismo and macho, and I think it was actually coming off the heels of like the hippie culture and men looking to re-identify themselves. And so the macho and machismo became a popular phrase in the 70s. And that's also where it started to become popularized.
Loverboy Lenski, what is up? Loverboy Lenski's in the building. Yeah, so that's when it became popularized and popular it has become, right? It's been the subject of many a debate. Okay, it's been the subject of even crimes, right? It's been the subject of successful men. Well, he's an alpha male. What did you expect, right? So we can't deny, and also this is not gender specific, because there are women who walk in the room and shut the mother down. That's me. That's me. So there is relation to, there is a leader of a pack. Leaders of packs do exist, right? And we got to call them something. We got to call those macho men something. We got to call those women that are bossed up something, right? So alpha male, alpha female, right? Now, men and women who have that, you know what I mean, those characteristics, that personality, that drive, that thing where you walk in a room and it's like, okay, you be the leader. Who's the foreperson? Me, choose her or choose him, because I don't want to do that, right? They have certain traits, right, that make them so. And those traits are not easy to deal with romantically, in romantic relationships. Now, it's hella sexy to look at. It's hella sexy to befriend. It's hella sexy to have in your midst. It's hella sexy to collab with. But when we veer into romantic relationship with that quote unquote, just for the sake of what we're talking about today, alpha male or alpha female, can you keep that person? Can you keep that person happy? And are you going to be happy trying to be with that person, right? A lot of people say yes. I can handle an alpha male. I can handle an alpha female. What? I'm all of that in a bag of Doritos, okay? I can do it. I can handle it. And then the relationship happens and all hell breaks loose, right? Porque no es fácil, meaning it's not easy. Okay, it's not easy. So I'm going to drop the link for anybody who wants to come up and argue with mama today. I feel like arguing. So you could come up and argue. I feel like arguing today. Okay, so I dropped the link. All right, this is my love language right here. Thank you, young PG. This is my love language. Jen is fine as Capricorn. Okay, it's a fine as Capricorn. I'd give her everything. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, Sims for president. Love on the Sims. Appreciate the Sims. Okay, they make the world go round.
Everybody has their role.
Everybody has their role. Listen, amen. Mo, I'm here. I'm back. I was a little busy, but I'm back. Okay, so this is interesting. I dropped the link for whoever wants to come up, mi gente. I dropped the link, and here's what I'm talking about right here. This is what I'm talking about. Let me open up my screen for myself, for my own pleasure. Chat, Block Stars, do you like this view or this view? Which view do you like? Do you like this view? You want to get the whole thing, or do you want that? Or do you want that? Let me know. Okay, so this comment right here, he said, it was a joke, young PG. It was a joke. It's a running joke that I have in my chat and on my platform. I'm not really saying you're a simp. I don't know you. It was a joke. Relax here today. Okay, we're not cooking till tomorrow. Right now, we just eating hors d'oeuvres. We're eating hors d'oeuvres on the block with Jen. Tomorrow, okay, it's the 4-course meal. We just relax. This comment right here is exactly what I was looking for. So shout out to Alpha Omega, and he has Alpha in his or her name. I don't know if you're a guy or girl. Okay, we lost this. So Alpha Omega says alpha male equals cheating, abuse, etc. He will definitely hit women. You break up with an alpha, he might murk you. They can be dangerous also. Damn, is that what we saying about the alphas out here? That sounds more like a psychopath or someone suffering from narcissistic personality disorder or so I don't know. I don't know about that. That's heavy. That's heavy. But it's a great example of what some people think alpha is synonymous with, right? So it's very important. I've heard Trump be called an alpha when he pushes people to the side to walk over, when he talks to women and men a certain way. People are like, hey, there's an alpha, right? We have Glenn Lawrence backstage, so I'm gonna bring him up. It's all good, young PG. It's all good. We all come in peace today. Can't say that for tomorrow. How are you, Glenn Lawrence? Welcome.
Hey, how you doing, Jen?
I'm really good. We're not gonna see your face today.
No. I'm on set with Tom Arnold, so I'm kind of keeping it low key.
Okay, hey, shout out to the gig.
Yeah. So let me hop in on this. Alpha, nonsense and this and that.
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
Now, mind you, I have a minor in social science. So,
Okay.
yes, alpha has been a term thrown around a lot. And yes, it was studied, and it was originated from wolves. And although the theory is that it was debunked, it was never thoroughly debunked. We actually there is science that we still use and we reference as alphas and betas. It's not debunked completely. It was debunked over that study because of the environment the study's in. And look, we've had alpha males in our human societies since the dawn of time. Okay, look at Attila the Hun was an alpha male. I mean, I believe it's what one third of all males living are a descendant from Attila of the Hun.
Okay.
That he reproduced so massively when he overtook so many different countries on his conquests and plagues that his offspring is ridiculous. So this alpha male concept, like, oh, this guy saying that alpha males cheat and abuse and this stuff, you're not talking about a real alpha, in my opinion. And honestly, an alpha male knows he's an alpha male without having to say, hey, guess what? My name is Alpha whatever 27 Wolf Pack Lone Wolf Survivor. No real alpha is going to advertise themselves that way because they don't have to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I walk into a room, people notice me. Why? Because I'm me. I don't have to say, hey, guess what? My name is Alpha Glenn Lawrence. That's right. You see it right here, live and direct, Alpha in the building. It's the way the person carries themselves. It's what people are drawn to. A real alpha doesn't have to put it in their name or even state anything about it. Now, do alpha males cheat? Sure. Guess what? So do beta males or sigma males or whatever other male. Males have the tendency to cheat just as women have the tendency to cheat, and you don't need to have an alpha next to that title in order for that to happen. What an alpha male is a man that knows who he is, he's self-aware, and he's self-aware enough to know that he doesn't have to really settle down with one person, okay? Because he knows he has options, all right? And this is a sad thing to say, and I'm going to say it, and everybody's probably going to disagree with me, but it's true, and there's science and statistics to prove it, that women would rather share an alpha male than settle for a beta male. And we see that all the time. That is something that we definitely see all the time.
Wow.
So
No, before you go, brother, I just want Glenn, when you said that there are studies alpha and beta and they're legit. Can you just quickly run us a beta? What are we looking at here?
Okay, if we're talking about in human species, or are we talking about animal species? So
Humans, because we're
okay,
talking
in the
about
human
eating
species,
out.
this is I'm gonna say something that's gonna be really offensive, but it's the clearest way to say it. Okay, women want to bang the alphas,
Okay.
but they will be supported by the betas, meaning alpha fucks, beta bucks.
What, ladies? Ladies, what do you think about that? Alpha fucks, beta bucks?
Beta bucks, money.
Wow.
And
Now, do you
here's a perfect example. All right, you know that girl that has like rules before she sleeps with the guy? Oh, we got to go on 5 dates, and I got to get to really know you and get comfortable,
Oh, I know
right?
what you're gonna say. I know what you're gonna say. Go on, go ahead.
And she puts all these rules on this one dude,
Yeah.
but when she goes to Cancun and she's in that foam cannon party, and that dude with the washboard abs with that nice olive skin approaches her, and
Yeah.
next thing you know, she just loses herself and she sleeps with him.
Yeah.
Where was those rules? In her mind, the guy that she just disregarded the rules for was an alpha. But the beta, she will put rules for the beta. No, we need to go on 10 dates. I need to feel comfortable, this, that, and the other. But that alpha comes along and she will disregard whatever rule she has to get with him.
So let me push back just a tinge, just a tinge. Let me push back a little bit. So you don't think that women that have those rules, it's a thing about her morality or her standards, is just it's predicated on what that man is standing in front of her? Is that what you're saying on today?
No, I'm saying that those rules, they probably really want to enforce those rules, right? But the alpha that they see, it's like this, like, oh my gosh, I may never have this opportunity again. You know what I'm saying? That fear of not being able to capture the alpha again eludes them. So they would rather disregard whatever rules they may have set that they're comfortable with for that opportunity.
Mm.
So
So
I would like to counter that point. And I think that a lot of times where we as men and males make a mistake is that we don't have comprehensive knowledge, and we're making an assessment on a situation, not fully understanding the dynamics, but characterizing it based upon our own understanding. So when you have a situation like that, where a a woman has chosen a man or a moment with that man, and it may just be she may not be she may have chosen that man for just that moment of time. It is not a situation where she is looking for him to be fall into relationship standards. And a beta male, for lack of a better term, but just for conversation's sake, um she may be doing a different assessment because she sees a different type of balance and a different type of purpose. We have to understand that in many times it's perceived that women are proactive thinkers and men are reactive thinkers. So if a woman is proactive in her thought process, she's making a long term assessment of what this scenario is going to be. So she's going to hold it to a different standard versus it being a fling or a moment or her going through a difficult emotional time. And she just, as Halle Berry once said, I just want to feel good. So she may, and men go through that same experience. So, we have to assess and do a critical analysis before we sit down here and say this is absolute one way or the other, or this is what's going on, because we're lacking a comprehensive understanding of the situation. I was just addressing the example in front of us.
okay, no, that's some great pushback actually, and it's a different way to look at things. I just want to let everybody know Glenn Lawrence is on set. He is an actor. So he just snuck away for a minute. So if we lose him and he comes back, that is why. Okay. Toya made a good point. I want to get it real quick again. I think this is also true, something we have to take into consideration. She says, because when men speak like this, it comes from their own personal experience, because not all women do that. This is why I have this sign, Toya. I don't know if you're new here, but this is why I do this, because that is true. But with that said, I also like speaking generally, right? Generally, women do certain things. Generally, men do certain things. Of course, some of us say, not me, not her, not I. But, for the most part, men and women think alike. Although, there's a lot of dynamics in it too. And Glenn is back, so maybe he'll have some, a rebut for your rebut-ish. Glenn?
Hey, yeah. So I missed a little bit of that. I couldn't start. I couldn't hear. Now, if you just give me a real quick recap-ish, that'd be great.
Sure. Basically, I was just saying that with the utilizing the example of the woman who chooses the man, the olive-skinned man with the washboard abs, that she's just choosing a moment and she's not actually picking a mate or as a partner, but it may be an emotional experience or it may just be a short-term scenario. Whereas utilizing the term beta, that beta male has a bit more balance to what he brings to the table. So she's doing a deeper critical analysis to see if he measures up for a long-term relationship scenario. So in characteristics, I also wanted to add one additional point. When you brought up Genghis Khan, some of the historic individuals that we considered alpha men many times are imbalanced, and they're imbalanced. If you go from the school of thought of Man of Steel and Velvet, and you have 6 characteristics of steel, 6 characteristics of velvet, which represents a well-balanced male. When you have individuals in history who are imbalanced, they're significant based upon, and they would be considered alphas, but they're actually just significant, but they're still imbalanced. So we may be misperceiving a beta as being passive, but where he's more well balanced. Prime example, Trump versus Obama. Obama represents a very well balanced male who is civilized, intelligent, well dressed, well groomed, was good with children, attentive, very youthful, humble, refined, understanding to women, but also he was a guide and a protector and a provider. He aided in building society. He had masculine characteristics. He had good character. He's very confident. He was in good health. So those are all the different characteristics. But if you take him and put him next to like Hitler, who was also an impactful leader in world history, he was an imbalanced male because he didn't have the humility or some aspects of attentiveness and gentleness and understanding towards women. So, but he was still significant. So we're characterizing individuals alpha because of their presence, but that may not really make them a well-balanced man. So that was my point, and I kind of expanded on it a little bit. But go ahead, bro.
Well, I think you're misunderstanding the concept of when we're talking about alpha male and beta male, and we're talking about in relation to women, we're talking about the desire that women have around them. Okay, I'm not worried about, and there's a lot of unbalanced people, but Genghis Khan was alpha in his time and for the purpose of what he was trying to achieve, which he did achieve. So he could be a very imbalanced and unsociable person, but doesn't mean that he wasn't alpha in the sense that he was leading his drive. He was living in his frame. He was going about his business, doing what he wanted to do, and he didn't consider any other option but what he wanted. And you could say, well, that's unbalanced and that's immoral. That's fine, but people answered to him. It wasn't him answering to anybody else. And women threw themselves at him because they saw that this man is, one, a protector. Two, he had provisions. He had nations upon nations of gold and wealth, and he could provide these women a lifestyle that would be comfortable for them, that they wanted. And that's just a good example that there wasn't just one woman said, I want to be Genghis Khan's wife. There was thousands of women saying that they wanted to be Genghis Khan's wife. And they didn't care that they had to share him, as long as he was in a position of providing. Now, if you want to say that, you're right, he wasn't imbalanced, he wasn't a good person, that's irrelevant to what the sense of when we're talking about alpha male and beta males in the value of the sexual marketplace, and when it comes to interactional, men and women, when it comes to dealing with sexual dynamics, it the measuring that you're using does not necessarily cross over. But I agree with you, but in that sense it doesn't cross over. When we're talking about alpha males and beta males in the sense of intersexual dynamics between men and women, we have to look at the fact that there's a lot of beta males, that guys that wanted to get with a girl at 23. She didn't want nothing to do with him. He didn't look good enough, or he wasn't, interesting enough for her at 23. But after, she turns 30 and she's still single, and those alphas that she was chasing didn't tie now, like, she's now like, okay, well, I want someone to take care of me. Then she was, oh, that beta male doesn't look that bad. He has his stuff together. He wants to, treat me like a queen. And he wants to do these things for me that these alphas won't do. Yeah, he's a little pudgy and he's not all attractive, but he's a really good guy. And that's called the epiphany phase. When they had this epiphany, and it's not all women, this is just a generalization of what sexual dynamics has shown us, is that at a certain point in time, the guy that never had the shot at trying to get with Jen because she's so gorgeous at 17, he might have a shot at 30 because he's got his act together and he's somebody that she could trust. And he doesn't resemble the alpha guy, but you know what, he wants to provide for her and he wants to take care of her, and he wants, at that point, to that ugly guy at 17 might now be attractive to her because her needs has changed. Does that make sense? I'm not saying that's how Jen is by anybody, but I'm just saying, using her as an example, that what at 23, what her desire was and who she was interested in may be a specific type of male. "35," or she don't even look 35. I'm say 30. That guy might be the right guy.
Are you still going? I couldn't tell if he.
Oh no, you could go. I have a call. I'm gonna hop off real quick. I'll hop back on. I promise.
Okay.
So I guess the conversation also has to table it correctly. We have to determine what is considered an alpha male. There are 5 prominent traits: aggressive, assertive, confident, demanding, and dominant. Now, does that make for a good man or a good partner? That's up for debate and discussion. But in the assessment of what makes an alpha, or what is commonly understood as an alpha male, these are the 5 characteristics. So I guess, in some dynamics, yes, we're both right, because we're both having kind of 2 different conversations, 2 different descriptions. I look at it, alpha male, as a well-balanced man, whereas society in which I believe we would consider this society an imbalanced society, it would fall into other characteristics. So
that's, I think, is the distinction in this conversation at this point.
So I'm curious about the Genghis Khan thing, right? All the women that wanted to be with him. What year are we talking about here in history and in society?
I don't know. Let me check that out, Genghis. That was 1158 to 1162.
Sheesh.
So
women weren't even considered human beings, I bet. It was like, let me get in where I can fit in. Anybody care for me? Anybody care? No one wants to behead me this week. I'll go.
Right. I married a guy that's not going to cut, so I don't get my head cut off. So,
The powerful guy that I'll get with this guy. No one else, you know what I mean? Sexually assault me or behead me.
And in those times too, wives, you weren't always, you didn't always have a choice of whether or not you were getting married. You were sometimes, forced into marriage. So, um, again, going back into the circumstances of comprehensive knowledge, we don't have a comprehensive knowledge of the circumstances and environment. We have, bits and pieces of information, but under those conditions, many people would make certain choices, not just based upon sexual attraction. And I think that also one thing that we have to address truthfully in determining what an alpha male is or an alpha man, which I also now want to kind of characterize that, what determines someone as a man, because you're considered a male at birth. So, but you're not a man till you've kind of grown into some sort of evolution. You've gone through the evolutionary stages of time and through experiences and challenges and how you've met and overcome those challenges. So if we're going to say alpha male, yeah, okay, the five characteristics, then, as far as aggression, that's just testosterone within the body, but if you're talking about what's an alpha man, then now we're kind of having, a conversation. And, in a relationship dynamic, also what Jim was talking about in the original subject of even alpha female, we have to kind of look at what is that in definition. Because
I want to get into the alpha female, but not just yet, because I think that's a whole different subject. Some people don't even believe in it. I want to go to Glenn is back, and I want to attach Bliss Me's comment to his point, where Bliss Me says that has nothing to do with men being alpha or beta, and more to do with women maturing. Glenn, I think that's to your point, where someone's young and doesn't want the beta, she wants the alpha, and then she gets older and she wants the beta instead of the alpha. Is it just a thing where women is maturing? Was that your point, or is that different from your point?
Honestly, we could. Let's be real. It sounds better to say it's just women maturing. I mean, I want, and I'm not. Look, I'm not here to bash. I'm not bashing women. I'm just talking. I don't
think you are.
I'm just reading the facts. I'm reading statistics, and the hot chick back in high school that didn't want the pimply nerd, wanted the jock for whatever reason. You could say it's because she's immature. Okay, if that sounds better. That chick will now, if the alpha does not settle her down, if she doesn't tie down an alpha, she's gonna look at that pimply nerd a little differently. And you could say, well, she matured. But I don't know if that would be the case, because if she would have been able to pull down that alpha and make him want to settle down, then that pimply nerd would still never have been an option. Does that make sense?
Can you say that one more time?
If the nerd was never an option, if the girl could, if Jen pulled an alpha and she got him to lock that, wife her up and got to put a ring on it, and he's locked down, the pimply nerd would never be in Jen's option. She wouldn't be like, oh, well, I got this alpha, but I got this beta. What do I really want? The beta or the pimply nerd would never be the option that you would initially want from a sexual dynamic position. That when we talk about that, we're talking about the difference between desired sex, genuine desired sex, and transactional sex. Okay? Genuine desire sex, and this is the difference, is you want to sleep with that person for no other reason other than you're attracted to them and you want to sleep with them. Okay? Transactional sex is he's a good guy, he's nice, he's sweet, he does a lot for me. I'm going to put out. Okay? He's not my first option, but you know, and I'm not trying to be rude, but that's just the way. There's so many statistics that prove that this is the case. And to be honest with you, 80% of the male population does not understand what genuine desire means.
Do you want to give us just a brief? What is desire? What's genuine desire?
Okay, genuine desire is this. So let's say, you know what, Jen, me and you get in a relationship, but you live in Vegas and I live in LA, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So you know what? In order for this to work, you need to be out here in LA. Genuine desire be you picking up and moving to LA just to be with me. That is an example. It's nothing that I'm using as an extreme example. But what it is you desire this individual or being around this individual so much that you're willing to change what you're planning on doing just so you could be with this individual. That is a good example of genuine desire.
So I want to go back to your other point really quickly before we switch it up. So basically, if a woman can lock down that jock, that alpha, then you're saying that she would never look at the beta. There'd never be a reason for her to look at the beta. That's what you meant?
I mean, on average, on a regular statistic average, no, she doesn't pay the beta any mind if she has the alpha.
I disagree to some degree. I hear you on what you're saying, but a lot of times in the alpha, there are again imbalances. So when you're talking about
you're
curiosity,
hold on one second. I'm talking about from a sexual standpoint.
From a sexual standpoint, yes. From a sexual standpoint, that's curiosity and that's attraction. But when you're talking about choosing a partner and a boyfriend, a lot of times, that even if she had the opportunity to gain the alpha and had that experience and found that it was lackluster in the experience because he wasn't balanced, then that's where the choices shift. So yes, an innate sexual attraction will show aggression, dominance on one level, but in the 4 studies that have gone in relationship to that, they don't partner up well. And that's the issue.
That's interesting.
In the 4 studies, they're not likable, not desired as a spouse.
So let me jump in really quickly because I'm the only one on the panel who's dated alpha males, right?
Yes.
So let me jump in really quickly. I do see that point only because yes, I've chosen the alpha, and then after that initial animal attraction, and like Glenn is saying, it's desire. You want to be there. You want to be with this. You want to be, taken by this person. He's everything. He's strong. He's muscular. He walks in. He's that guy. And then afterwards, I was like, oh, I don't think so. Like whether it was the conversation or whether it was the way he carried himself long term, I would kind of be like, oh no, it's a little much for me. So in that way, I can agree with Ish. But before you respond, Glenn, super chat break. I love me a super chat. Ill Doctrine says an alpha male is the highest social rank. He is ranked by his immediate social group, who benefits from how he behaves. Without benefiting the group, the alpha will be ousted. No group, no alpha. I think that's a great point. Can't be an alpha without your group.
True indeed. You have to have peers around, and I guess I move in the context in which I'm speaking from, because I'm looking at some of the comments in relationship to the non-sexual dynamic, is
you know, I look at things from what is the standard of a complete man, a man of steel and velvet. So the sexual paradigm is one characteristic of manhood, but it is not the complete basis. You're not a man based upon how many women you can have sex with or how much alcohol you can drink. And I'm basing that off of just, that's not manhood. So when I'm referencing alpha male or an alpha man, I'm speaking on the dynamic of a well balanced man and a dominant in his environment. So that's where the sexual dynamic kind of shifts for me, because you do have to be sexual, you do have to be sexually attractive, you do have to be sexually proficient. So I'm not negating that dynamic, but what I'm saying is there are other characteristics that draw and attract a woman. So if you see the confidence, if you see his character, if you see that he's building and doing different things, these are additional characteristics that are attractive to the female. And we have to be mindful of that. A lot of times, again, we don't have the comprehensive knowledge of what's going on in the back of her mind, of what actually drove the attraction. So we automatically assume that it's just the physicality or the perceived proficiency in the bedroom, but that's not always accurate and an accurate understanding from a male perspective.
So let me I got another super chat break, and then I'm gonna bring up two other gentlemen who have a lot to say. Super chat break. Ill Doctrine says an alpha female is the highest ranked female, typically the most feminine, but also the most beneficial to the group. She is the one most desired by the alpha male. Ooh, we're gonna get into this today. We're gonna get into this today. I want to welcome David Johnson and Haran DeMarco. Welcome, gentlemen. Somebody needs to meet.
Yeah, that ain't me. I'm good at panel etiquette. Hey, Jen, how you doing?
Yeah, what's going on?
How are you? I want to give Glenn a chance first to respond to Brother Ish. If he doesn't want to, then we can start with you guys. Glenn, do you have a response for that, or Glenn is working?
Yeah, obviously.
Okay, so until Glenn comes back, welcome, gentlemen. I saw you here first, and then I added Haran. So what do you have to add to the conversation? Because I really want to go into also, quote unquote, the alpha female and how they pair up with, regular guys and alpha guys. And then I'm going to put you guys in the hot seat.
Okay.
But before the hot seat, I want you to, David, share with us what you think thus far.
Okay, well, first, let me salute to you, Jen. Salute to everybody on the panel. I like to everybody don't get your trousers in a bunch. I am part of the manosphere. I'm probably one of the most well-rounded diplomatic dudes from the manosphere that you can speak to. I tend to like to be the PR person for the manosphere. So just so we get that. Yeah. So I've always talked about the alpha and the beta thing. It's all just a bunch of just goofy division that we've come up with. What I tend to tell people is, believe it or not, alpha and beta, for most parts, just simply approaches. Understand, some people are naturally aggressive. Some people are naturally, let me get on it, let me get on top. That's their energy. So they would be deemed an alpha, which is no problem. Some people are actually kind of laid back, chill. They're not really all big on that. That would be considered beta. No problem, different in approaches. What people got to understand is, though, as an alpha, I am an alpha. I'm very aggressive. What's weird is I started off a beta. I was shy. I was bashful. Life turned me into an alpha. I had to do that to compete. So what I learned, what people don't understand is, as an alpha, sometimes you have to relax. You can't just go in and alpha your way through everything. If you ever hear that term, I started that. You can't alpha your way through everything. So at some point in time, even an alpha has to learn how to chill, relax, let this happen. The beta, you can't be passive through all life. At some point in time, you're going to have to step up and be aggressive and take charge. It's just differences in approaches. It's really that simple. Now, I'm killing the conversation. I'm gonna move on real fast because it don't take me long. Now,
You're not killing it. You're actually giving a very interesting perspective. Continue, please.
Thank you. And as a man, as I've dated a lot of women, and maybe over 100. I know that's probably ill to women, but I just like telling the truth, because I use that to validate my experience, to prove I'm not just here talking out the side of my ass. I actually have done this. And what I've learned from dealing with the women, yes, they do love us alphas when they're broken, when they're hurt, when they need somebody to pick them up. They love that. They love it when it's a problem. The alpha is here. He takes charge. They love it when it's some brain boggling shit and he comes in and he figures it out. They love that. The problem is then when they don't like it, that's when the problem comes in, when they want you to fold, when they want you to give way, when they want to have their way. And I'm not, again, remember I said earlier, there are times I've given my women their way purposely. Like, you can't be a tyrant. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be a leader. Even if you got to be tough, and even if the people you're leading are screw ups, you still have to, if they do good, you reward them. So I reward women. I show them I reward them. But what I've learned is at some point in time, most individuals, especially when they want to do what they want to do, and that's innately in us, they get tired of the control, of necessarily having to follow orders. And if I'm wrong, show me the alpha man that got all the women. I tell dudes, the brothers, about this when they say gang. Show me the dudes who were alphas, who were getting all the women, and show me where all the women stayed with that man. Show me all the dudes who were getting all the women in high school. If he was good and he was an alpha, that should have been enough to hold her. Show me those men that still have all the women they've ever dealt with. Y'all got it.
Interesting. Okay, I definitely have a rebut for that. Scott Aaron says a problem is all the different definitions people have for alpha. That's why very few men think they are not an alpha. They'll just cling to the definition of alpha that they think applies to them. And it's interesting, Mr. Manosphere promoter, because I was about to say that I think especially in the manosphere, the definitions are so misconstrued and so taken out of context and so misused and so parroted. And it's like, I'll have a guy who's like 5'2", pimply face, like Glenn was talking about, receding hairline, boobs bigger than mine, talking about I'm an alpha and you can't handle me. And I'm like, what? You're a what that I can't handle? And that happens a lot in the manosphere, where men think because they're angry enough, that makes them an alpha. And those are the issues that I have with the manosphere, where it's like, just because you're angry does not make you a masculine, manly man. You're just angry. It doesn't automatically make you attractive. Before you respond, I'd like to take a super chat break, because I like my super chat breaks. Ill Doctrine says, a man who is absolutely confident, dominates everyone, handsome as fuck, rich, etc., is not an alpha if he benefits no one at all. Alpha is a group rank in a hierarchical organization. No group, once again, no alpha.
I disagree with that. An alpha, one thing about alphas, they truly can stand alone, and most times they do, due to the fact that most people can't keep up. Like, understand what I learned. I had to tell brothers, I said, listen, two kings can rock around each other. I learned that a lot of brothers felt like it had to be one king. I'm like, no, 2 kings, 3 kings, 4 kings. If you're confident within yourself, like I'm that type of dude, I am a monster. So I don't have any fear. So when I come in, it's a live and let live. How you doing, brother? I'm actually trying to make everybody feel comfortable. But what I've noticed is, even in my own personal life, when people cling to me, I'll be in the store talking, everybody come around, I got everybody laughing. And it was one day, one of my chicks was like, it's funny how we always out and people always want to talk to us. I'm like, no, they don't want to talk to you. They want to talk to me. I'm the funny guy over here making all the jokes. So what I've learned also, hate comes with that too. Like, people don't want you to have all the attention. See, like, heavy is the head that wears the crown. See, this is how you know I am definitely alpha. I'm giving you both sides. I'm not just giving you all the beauty and the shiny stuff. I'm showing you the hassle and the headache that also comes with it, from women and from other men who may be intimidated like that. Because what people don't understand is, everybody's not comfortable knowing how to articulate themselves properly. That's why I said earlier, when I was younger, I was shy. I was always had the girls. I've been working out since a kid, so I always had the looks and the aesthetics. But I used to watch other guys, they was locking the women down and I couldn't keep them. And I said, what are they doing? They had conversations.
Wait a minute. You said looks, cam up, bro.
No, my computer has no cam on it, babe. God's honest truth.
Okay.
So, but no need to lie. If you listen to the conversation, you should be able to tell. Now, let me say this. I'm a Leo. That's another thing too. So if everybody knows anything about Leo.
Avatar, I couldn't tell.
Okay, thank you. You're done, right. So, like, listen, Leos are like, I'm gonna say this. Leos are pretty good looking. We are pretty confident. Like, I'm not big on the astrology thing, but there are definitely some things in astrology.
Yeah. Now you're losing me. I want to, people are saying the alpha doesn't need the group. I don't think that's what ill doctrine is saying. What he's saying is if the leader of anything can't be a leader if there's nobody around. I think that's what he means. Not that the alpha needs a group to be an alpha. I think he's saying it's a group rank. In other words, in any group, there will be an alpha. I don't think he's saying that you need a group to be an alpha.
Now, if you think about it, a general's a general. If he loses his whole platoon, he doesn't stop being a general. So I still will agree with the chat. He's still a general if there's nobody to lead. And then when people fall in line, they fall in line under his rank and recognize he has the experience. But I think he's still a general, is he not? If he loses the whole platoon, he's still a general, right?
That's true. I just in just my study of just like military sciences, yes, that is true, and it just makes him a bad general. But if he destroys his entire platoon. But the other dynamic is that what I wanted to bring up is that an alpha is now not just rooted in your aggression, but it also is now rooted in your knowledge. What do you know? Who are you? Because men are not going to follow another man just because he's physically aggressive and he's dumb. Ergo, the term dumb jock. So, if going for the term alpha male, yes, he has to have some sort of intelligence. He has to have some sort of finesse. He has to have some sort of charisma in relationship to be able to be to stand out from amongst his peers. So that's one key element that we have to take into consideration.
So is that the outside part? Are you basically talking about the outside? Because sometimes they say it's not what's on you, it's what's in you. And I agree with you because the intellect, that is kind of in you. But as far as I could agree with that. I feel you. I take that, but you got it. I agree with you.
Okay, so before we move forward, I want to be accommodating to Glenn only because he's calling from work, and I appreciate when people call from work. Glenn, did you want to say anything? Did you want to jump in before I throw it to Haran? He's probably on set. Okay, so Haran.
Money.
Who was
that?
Hey,
who's popping?
Okay, Haran. Good, Haran. Welcome.
First of all, welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you. What's up to the panel?
Salute.
First of all, there will be no Leo slander. Thank you very much.
That's right.
Let's get that out the way. Let's get that out the way.
Listen, I wanted to see if all the Leos were fine. That's all.
Let's get that.
Good save. Good save.
Let's get that out the way. Now, I think one of the things that a lot of great and solid, interesting points are being made here. I think a lot of the brothers are saying a lot of the things that coincide with the concept of, I guess, for the sake of argument, alpha and beta. But I think one of the main things that we have to understand here, and I'm going to get into what's going on with what I'm seeing in the manosphere and so on and so forth. First thing is that what we call alpha and what we refer to as confidence, all that really is just solid self-work. You know what you are, you know what tools that you have, and so on and so forth, or whatever, you know what I mean? And people can tell when a person walks in the room if they're sure of themselves. And that attracts people. Okay, that attracts people. That attracts men. That attracts women. Okay, there's two things that most of the time when people refer to alpha, there's two things that can be said that is true. That's the guy that guys want to be like, and that's the guy that girls want to sleep with. Okay, that's the number one thing. But you see, the problem is that there's a lot more layers attached to that. There's far more layers attached to that deal with the self-work. And the problem is that all those little things, those external things, they've been taken, they've been amplified, they've been turned into a caricature, and they've been sold to a bunch of guys who basically that concept has eluded them or continues to elude them, for the rest of their life, for most of their lives. I try to tell guys, number one, look, listen, concentrate on yourself. Concentrate on your earnings, concentrate on your direction in life, take a fucking shower, get a fucking haircut. After these, look, listen, I'm gonna just keep it a buck with you. Half of these incels and manosphere dudes, a lot of the solve of their problem half of the time is to lose 50 pounds and get a haircut. They do that, a good chance, a lot of their issues will basically go out the window. Now, of course, they would have to, work on their personality, read some books, travel, you know what I mean, learn some things, you know what I mean, meet some people, you know what I mean, expand yourself as a person, you know what I mean. But one of the things that I have to give props to, like Brother Ish, you know what I mean, I think what he's basically trying to explain is that there's a certain concept called the refined alpha, a man who becomes mature in his powers and understands his purpose and so on and so forth, as opposed to the immature alpha who might not really fully understand, you know what I mean, his purpose, his goals, where he's going, but he just know that he's getting flocked by women and he's just indulging and indulging and indulging, and he's not really creating any kind of lasting, you know what I mean, relationships or situations. You know what I mean? I can say that, you know, I'm on more so a journey myself to a place of refinement. Like, for instance, Brother Ish, I can give him props because I can say that, like, his degree of reserve, I don't have that right now in my life. I just don't. I'm just don't. Like, I can tell that Ish, if somebody came at this guy aggressively, he'd still be calm in his reserve. I'm not like that. I am not like that, man. Like, I'm from New York. If I feel like a dude is squaring up, it's just automatic. You know what I mean? It's just go time. It's just go time. You know what I mean? Now, this is not to say that I come into any venue looking for trouble. I come into any situation causing an issue, you know, trying to cause an issue. No, you know what I mean? I'm here to break bread. I'm here to, you know what I mean, be solid, you know what I mean, learn some things. Hey, I don't know everything, you know what I mean, and so on and so forth. But the one thing I don't do, you know, is here's the one thing I don't do, and I'm gonna just lock this down right now. I don't, especially when it comes to, you know what I mean, the back and forth with women and a lot of these spaces, I see no reason to do that, because that doesn't lead to any kind of resolved issues. It's just her and you slinging mud at each other. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, nothing really productive comes out of it. Now, if you concentrate on yourself and concentrate on creating a world where a woman doesn't have too much to complain about, then that's the situation that you should be, you know what I mean, concentrating on. And,
so
you know, that's.
Let me jump in here because we have 55 people in the room and I got 27 likes. Now, y'all been lurking the YouTube streets in this particular algorithm for days and y'all seen nothing but trash, okay? I have gentlemen up here with differing views, dropping fucking science, gems, and amazing opinions. Can I get a like? I'm not asking for anything else but a damn like, okay?
A like.
Y'all lurking.
Oh, Jen, just to let you know, I'm gonna show up for tomorrow. That's gonna be good. I'm showing up for tomorrow.
Thank you. I need you here. It's gonna be dope. It's gonna be dope. Tomorrow, I'm telling you, if y'all are listening, tomorrow's gonna be a town hall on my page, okay, of all the fuckery that's been going on. And if you've been in this algorithm, you know what it is. It's gonna be all hands on deck, okay? 4-course meal. We're talking about everything. Everybody's welcome. Tomorrow here on the block with Jen, 4 p.m. PST, 7 p.m. EST. Brother Ish.
That's right. So in response to what brother is saying, you know, my reserve and my duplicitous nature at this point was evolved. And I learned that through the principles and the training in my belief system as an FOI. We don't fight, we kill. That's our intention. So if we get into a fight, our intention is to kill that individual. So you start to measure whether this is worthy of the act of eliminating a life, number one. Number two, motion without order is chaos. So I don't run into a fight, I walk into a fight. And when I walk into a fight, I walk with intention. So, you know, you start to learn self-mastery. And what I also learned in just my growth and being in this brotherhood is that when you're around other men, and I use that, and I don't use that term loosely, as everyone knows. I always delineate men versus male. But when you're around other men and real men that are self-defined, and everyone in the room is an alpha, and everyone in the room can kill each other, you start to find a different level of respect, discipline, and camaraderie. So that's what's and I'm a loner. I have a tendency to be a loner. I'm very happy with, you know, the woman I'm with. I don't need to hang out with a bunch of guys, but I also know that when I come into a situation, whether it be on the streets, in the hood, in a trap house, or in jail, I'm going to take charge of my post.
Right.
I'm going to take charge of my environment. I'm going to be courteous and respectful. And if you cross that lane, be sure you understand what comes with that.
Agreed.
I like that.
So I want to, I'm going to put you guys in the hot seat. Okay. And then we're going to talk about alpha female, which some people think doesn't even exist. They think the alpha thing is for men only. So gentlemen on the panel, which one of you is an alpha?
Loaded question. Loaded question.
No, we ain't giggling. We're going to have this conversation. Which one of you on the panel is going to walk in the room, even when it's all of y'all, and be the alpha? It can't be 5 alphas in the room.
Yes, it can. That's not true.
Yes,
it can be 5 alphas.
Absolutely. You can have multiple alphas in a room. You can
have 5. If you got 5 billionaires in the room, you can have 5 alphas.
Okay, so let's just say there are 5 of you in the room. Who's giving the orders then?
It's a I got this, fellas. It's a collective mindset. Well, because see, understand, true alphas who have intellect, we're not trying to do, if I could say, the dick swinging contest or the pissing contest. We're looking for the answer to save the situation. So we all come together collectively because we recognize that together we stand, united we stand, divided we fall. So it's no ego when we're in pursuit of the truth. Check and mate.
It also depends on the area of expertise. If David has an area of expertise that he, that I don't have, or if Ish has an area of expertise that he has that I don't have, then of course I'm going to sit there and take their counsel. Right. Anybody that's going to sit there and put it this way, if there's a guy at the table that's trying to, be the guy that everyone listens to, that's the mark. That's not the alpha.
Right.
Men sit. Go ahead.
I'll say it simply like this, because I've been instructed to bullet point. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches that the best knower always leads. So when you're in a collective of strong men, the best knower is the one who takes leadership position at that time.
Absolutely. And the one with the expertise in a particular situation. Absolutely. Like, for instance, I have a solid group of guys that we speak to each other and we counsel with each other, on a daily basis. All these gentlemen, there's a shared respect, there's shared understanding. And when they're speaking on particular situations that I'm not, very knowledgeable of, I hear what they're saying. When it's time, like, for instance, I'm a software engineer. If there's any kind of technical, jargon kind of situation that these gentlemen are scratching their heads on, they usually come to me. And when I tell them that go left, go right, go here, they go left, go right, go there, because they know that my expertise is based on years of results.
Facts. Proper delegation. Absolutely.
And that's just it.
I got a super chat break, and then I'm gonna ask y'all again. Okay.
But she didn't like that. She didn't like that.
Okay.
We dodged that.
Thank you, El Dodge, for the super chat. He says alpha is a role, not a personality type. An alpha without a group who ranks him is like a king on an island alone, finishing first place in a one-man race. So before you guys rebut, because I'm sure you will, okay? Brother Ish, are you an alpha?
Yes.
What makes you an alpha, sir?
I manifest leadership characteristics. I have a clear understanding of myself. I'm very confident, and I have a good moral compass.
Haran, are you an alpha?
Absolutely.
What makes you an alpha?
Well, first of all, I understand one thing. At the end of the day, most of the time, people don't need Supermen. They just need brave men.
Okay.
That's number one. I do have a general sense of leadership. I'm self-aware. However, I will say that it took me a very long time to gain a degree of refinement and understanding of the things that I could do, and not be like the typical out of control Leo, we can say. It took me a bit of some time, because hey, I'll be very honest with you. There is something intoxicating about walking into a room and you're that guy. I'm just
Facts.
saying. I'm being honest. I'm
Facts.
being honest here. I'm being
Facts.
honest. You know what I mean? And I used to get high off of it, but I had to
Indeed.
come to I had to come to an understanding that okay, this is not what life just is, brother.
Humility.
This is
Right.
this. It's exactly. There's something bigger out here for you. If you can take this and manifest this and turn it into something that a group of people can actually benefit from instead of you, then that is
Facts.
true leadership.
Facts.
So before David tells us how he's the alpha and the omega of all men in creation. Let me do a chat break.
Shit.
Let me do a super chat break. Thank you so much, Ill Doctrine. Ill Doctrine says a general attains his group rank by benefiting the group. It is ranked by other members of the group. A general is not self-declared, just like alpha rank is not self-declared. Once again, no group, no alpha. Are you guys getting it now?
Yep.
I would disagree with that again.
You still disagree.
Yeah, because listen, what I've learned in being in leadership positions, and remember, I'm still got to answer that question. I don't want to go into all this. I'm gonna just get this quick and get to the question. But I've learned from being a leader in a leadership position. Now, again, shout out to those 5 out of 5 million. Shout out to you 5 dudes who are able to be a great leader and everybody listens to you. Shout out to you. But I've seen the majority. I look at history. I don't even have to look at myself. I can look at history. I can look at Malcolm. I can look at people like Tupac. I can look at Martin. I look at all the leaders. Leaders are I can go to the Bible. Leaders are generally hated on. They're generally rebelled against. So it's like that parent, those parents who you see kids and you go, this person growing up, your parents didn't do shit. And then that person's parents might slide up like, no, wait a minute. Let me explain to you. I taught him every goddamn thing. The stuff he does, I never agree with. I taught him how to be right. He chose to do this. So if that is truly the case, then it would be impossible to blame that father if that father truly indeed did teach his son differently and his son is doing different. That is the same as a leader. So just because the group, because you could have a group of idiots. It could be 10 of y'all in the room and 9 of them could be idiots. That is definitely highly possible. So that's still, again, that man's actions and how he, your actions will dictate what you are. Now I'm gonna get to somebody got a lot of feedback. I'm gonna get to the question which you originally asked for.
Yes, do tell us. Do tell us.
They got a lot of feedback.
Hold on.
Somebody in the car or something.
I think that was Glenn.
Okay.
Yes. Do tell us. We're waiting with bated breath. Okay. David Johnson, are you an alpha?
You goddamn right. Now, let me say this. It was weird. You went to the God, because that was exactly where I'm going to go. Like, first and foremost, what makes me an alpha is because I recognize and pay homage to the #1 creator of all this shit. Now, any man talking that, I know you ain't an alpha. You don't even acknowledge the one who made you. So I'm going to, and now let's get to him. He is the alpha and omega. And believe it or not, I always tell people my rendition of what you see of David Johnson is my rendition of God, me and the personal interaction my creator God and I have, along with what I read. So I always tell people because this is how he interacts with me. So this is what I try to portray. Now, I just knocked it out the park saying the creator, that's the foundation. Now let's build. I'm a leader because I recognize that, first of all, when people tell you a leader is supposed to do it all, that's cap. A leader could never do it all. Shout out to my anime fans. You look at Naruto, Itachi told that to Naruto, and they were talking about Sasuke. You could never do it all. That's why what my brother was saying earlier about when I said I called it proper delegation. A leader he assesses the situation. People tell you don't judge. That's another lie. You're supposed to judge everything. Judging is nothing but another word for assess. And only a fool doesn't assess everything. Scripture says a wise man judges everything. A spiritual man judges all. So at the end of the day, you assess everything, not necessarily giving punishment. Judgment is punishment. Judging is assessing. So also as a leader, I recognize through assessing the team where the strengths are, where the weaknesses are. Okay, nope, you like bro said, you suck at that. So I'm not gonna have you shooting a sniper rifle. You suck at that. You good at the sniper rifle. I'm gonna put you on this. You good at brawling. I'm gonna put you at the door. A leader has to be able to properly assess the situation, and then he has to have patience, and then he has to be recognizing that he has to do this for the greater of the good, and then also sacrifice. And not only does he sacrifice himself, he may have to sacrifice 2 or 3 of the members. If 2 of the members are faulty and they're gonna destroy the whole majority, he will get rid of that too. He will make that tough decisions. And this is why when I say people act like leaders and alphas are loved, it's a lie. Look around. Show me the guys that are actually calling shots, calling out the bullshit that the majority of people love. It's a lie. Y'all got it.
Okay, so one thing that's really interesting about David is that it's funny, the joke that they were saying earlier about I don't know, I think it was ill doctrine. Anyway, just basically David, like he's his own leader and his own followers and his own audience. I find it very interesting. I
actually do have followers. I actually do lead people, though. I actually have and do.
No, I know, but I'm just saying here, your demeanor is very much. You'll say something, you don't even wait for the accolades. You congratulate yourself. You're like
Leo shit. That's Leo shit and alpha shit.
Right. You'll say something, you're like, and me, I knocked it out the park, and I'm like, well,
Leo shit, alpha shit. I'm doubly cursed. I'm doubly cursed. I'm Leo and alpha.
You know what I'm saying? Can we digest what you're saying before we continue? Glenn Lawrence, I know you're back. Do you want to jump in? Because I want to be accommodating. I know you're at work.
Yeah. I wanted to hop back in.
You heard a lot. That was a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get back to you on this God thing. But go ahead, Glenn, please.
Well, you know what? I want to say I agree with that. You know, the Bible says I'm the Alpha and Omega. I am the beginning and the end.
Facts.
The real alpha, the only true, genuine, unadulterated alpha is God. So if that's the case, and since that's the standard, all these so-called alphas and alphas are just knockoffs of the real alpha. It's just the generic version of the real alpha. And we're all trying to be more, I mean, those that believe are trying to be more Christ-like anyway. So that means they want to be more alpha-like anyways. But again, at the end of the day, you could look at whoever that says they're an alpha. And I guarantee you, I could find a flaw in them. I'd be like, oh, no, that's a beta. They got some beta tendencies. Because we all do. We're not, there's nobody out here that's 100% perfect alpha. All right. And guess what? Being a beta is not a bad thing. It's a bad thing when it comes to sexual dynamics. But guess what? Everybody plays their role. Alphas and betas are not. We look at the stigma of beta. I'm like, oh yeah, you don't want to be a beta. You want to be a beta bitch. Like we put betas and bitch in the same category as if they're less than. No, fellas, they have a different role to play. Okay, like. Alphas, yes, they're the ones that tend to run towards the bullets. All right. Nice. That's where, if you want to talk about where it started from in human culture, the fighters will go out to war. The men, the strong men, would take their spears and go kill the dinner. The weak men stayed home at the camp and they protected and tended to the ladies. They were there. You know, if you really think about it, those weak beta men were probably getting a whole lot more play than some of these alpha at times because those alphas were away, you know, hunting and killing off the enemy.
That is also play. Listen, bro. Listen.
Well, let me wait a minute, David. Wait a minute.
Women love them because they laid back.
Wait. I'm the alpha here on the block. Okay. Wait a minute. Okay. Glenn, so then I have to push back because I think what you just said is a contradiction. First of all, I'm an atheist, so you know what side I'm on already.
Yeah.
I have to push back. It's the tinge again, because if it started even way back when dudes are in caves and couldn't even speak language of religion, and they're just the guy running in front of the bullets and the spears and bringing back, 2-3 bison, then it's not about religion and being close to God. I feel like a very alpha type a complete atheist. I'm not trying to be like God. And Jesus was very meek and docile, and he only got mad if somebody was disrespecting his dad. So I don't want to confuse.
Can I just respond?
It's balanced. You got it. It's balanced. They're two,
Let
me respond real quick. Okay, I think we have a different. I think there's a different understanding. Everybody thinks Jesus was quiet and meek and some soft guy. Facts. All right, he wasn't soft. He was. Right. He didn't have to flex. That's the problem. Jesus didn't have to flex on nobody. Okay, like he even told Peter. He straight up told Peter. He told his own person, "Get behind me, Satan." Like he straight up shunned his own dude. You know, he was very. We look at him as that he was this peaceful person. He was peaceful, but again, remember I said in the beginning, a real alpha doesn't have to beat his chest and say, "Yo, I'm alpha. Here I am. Hear me roar." Okay, a real alpha knows who he is and moves the way he moves, and he doesn't have to prove anything to nobody. Everybody already knows who he is. You
but
know?
Okay, but Glenn, but we have a man on the panel, and I'm not picking on you, David. We're just having conversation.
No problem.
But we have a man on the panel that since he camped up, he's been yelling at the top of his lungs that he's an alpha. What then say you about that type of person? Because I agree with you. Like I refer to
honestly, like I wasn't listening to all that. If he is saying all that, then you know what? I don't. That's just to me that says I'm not no disrespect, but to me, from my opinion, there's an insecurity there. You know that. You know there may be some type of insecurity somewhere in his life where he feels that he needs to let everybody know who he is, and that's fine. And there's no I don't have a problem with that. Me?
Let me respond to that. Let me get in right on that. I give it right back to you.
Yeah.
And people, wait, really quickly, Glenn, did you finish your point?
I'm sorry.
No. I didn't finish. I'll let him talk though.
I'll give it right back to you.
Before David, you go, I wanted to just make note of this comment here because I think it's important. Scott Aaron says that's why almost all guys think they're alphas. It's what men aspire to be. Very few men are okay with being labeled a beta because the male ego is too fragile. And I knew asking the men on the panel, Glenn, I don't know if you heard, but I went around the room asking which one of you are alphas. All the men said yes. Nobody said, I'm a beta. So
can I answer that question?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm alpha in very certain categories, and you know what? I'm beta in others. And I think there's a healthy balance to have some beta qualities, some beta tendencies, and to have alpha traits. You don't want. I'm sorry, but I don't think every dude on here they're like, yeah, I'm alpha 100%. That's fine. That's cool. But you know what? That doesn't make for a good partner all the time unless you have a very dominant and submissive relationship where your woman has no problem being a super submissive woman. But you know what? It takes even Rollo Tomasi, one of the godfathers of the red pill, has said that he would want his future son-in-law to have alpha traits and some beta traits because he's a father of a daughter, and he said that. And he even might say he has some beta traits. So I think it's okay to say that, you know what, I'm a little bit of both. And I think that for anybody that's afraid to say that there's a little bit of both, that to me shows that they might be trying to put up a front and a little bit of cap there, and they're not being 100. Right. And I digress.
All right, let me say this.
It's a tiny little cat.
No. And if you play back to playback, I initially, when I first came in, I basically said it's balanced. I basically said what he just said earlier, play to playback. I basically said there are two different sides of the same coin. I said every alpha is not always alpha. There's times you have to lay back. I literally said this when I came in. Then I literally said every beta isn't always laid back. There's times he's going to have to be aggressive. So I literally said that because I agree. Nobody's this all the time. You know what I mean? You would like life is give and take. So nobody can be take all the time. That's not going to work out for anyone. So I agree. But nonetheless, I said that earlier. So now what else was I responding to? Oh yeah. What was it? No, basically it was that. And so that's what I was saying to you, bro. Yeah, it wasn't like I just said, it wasn't like, yeah, I'm alpha all the time. I'll alpha my way all through it. Anybody thinks that is a goddamn fool. You're not going to alpha your way through everything. There are some things you're just going to have to sit your ass down somewhere and wait and be patient. So like I said.
Let's address this. Let's address this because as a woman, again, I'm the only one here who's dated men. As a woman, I felt this comment, okay? Matt says, yelling is beta. You have a fear of being unheard, but alphas are felt. And I'm agreeing very much so with the latter. Alphas are felt. I always refer to my father when he walked in the room, okay, the energy shifted. Everybody knew that was the guy not to act up around. And he was strong, silent.
Let me say this. I don't agree. Let me get back to you right quick.
Let me finish the question, coño.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Respectfully. So what do you think about just the comment in general? Yelling is beta. You have a fear of being unheard. What do you think about that, guys?
I think that, you know what, I agree to an extent. Like, yelling, that means there's an emotion behind it. Okay, if you have to get emotional, then you're not thinking logically. You're not being rational. One of the key components between, in my opinion, and I can tell you a story. I had this guy. So for those that don't know, I work in the entertainment industry. I'm working with Tom Arnold today. We're filming a movie, and I've been working with Tom Arnold this whole week. And I had this background actor get real emotional because he thought he was short on his paycheck. And I had to talk to him. I said, no, this is what happened. And he was getting real, I'm monotone with him. And look, man, this is what happened. This is where you're wrong. Blah, blah, blah. He's yelling at me. He gets in my face. I said, it's time for you to go. And I'm just talking to him, just like I'm talking to you. And he gets in my face. He said, you're going to make me? And I said, I can. And as soon as I said that, I didn't raise my voice at him. As soon as I said it that way, the boy took 10 steps back, turned around, got in his car, and took off. And I didn't have to raise my voice. I didn't have to get emotional with him because he was already emotional, out of whack. So I'm like, alpha is stoicism. You don't need to share, like, shit runs downhill, right? So alphas are not going to be all emotional and all like getting crazy over situations. They're going to assess the situation, and then they're going to come and approach the situation the way that they need to.
I said that earlier.
And if you're yelling, yeah, that is a very beta tendency. And yelling does cause attention. That's an attention whore. To me, I look at it, it's the same person that puts a whole bunch of pictures on Instagram wants likes.
Okay, let me respond to that if I may.
Go ahead, David, please.
Okay. What I've learned too, like some, say for instance, some people think I'm yelling. I'll use an example. Like, this is actually me whispering. And the point I've learned is like I have a strong voice. I've always had that. I remember I would be places and my teacher would say, use your inside voice. And I'd be like, this is my inside voice. Like, if I yelled, it would be a whole nother caliber. So this is how I just gave y'all a taste. Most of the time I'm not yelling, but what I've learned is, again, what you'll find about some leaders, see, it goes back to that conversation again. You got dudes trying to shame dudes for being aggressive, which is a part of it. You got dudes trying to shame dudes for being passive. When, again, it's balanced, because, again, for me, it's never insecurity with me. I'm beyond insecurity to that point because I'm a Leo, and I don't say that. I say that because at some point in time, you recognize, it's going to sound cocky, people are nothing but shit on the back of a dog's ass. I don't say that to be funky. I say that to put in context. So there's no one I need to impress other than the creator, which is God, and he already knows what I'm going to do. So I go through the motions with him. But if it's not impressing him, I don't give two shits about what a flea on the back of a dog's ass thinks. So in a lot of cases, I'm saying maybe there are guys who I do agree that do yell, who are emotional. I always tell people there's nothing wrong with emotion. There's something wrong with uncontrolled emotion, because sometimes you do need to get emotional. You need to get in the fight. You can't be lackadaisical and relaxed. You got to pump it up. So sometimes that passion has to come through. This is why I can go from 0 to 100 and go back, because I'm controlling it. In fire departments, they call it a controlled burn, where you use fire, but you use it to burn back, so you contain the fire, versus burning all the fire out and then having the whole fire overtake you and the whole field. So what I'm saying is, what I've learned is the aggressive guys tend to talk shit about the laid back guys. The laid back guys tend to talk shit about the aggressive guys. It's the same thing with the quote unquote Pookie and the Ray Ray and educated lame conversation. I've said the same thing. They're the same thing as I just said about beta and alpha. They're two different sides of the same coin. The balance, you need one for the aggression. You need somebody for the front line. You need somebody on the paperwork. You need somebody on the policies. It only makes sense. The problem is we're allowing everybody to say, no, this isn't that. No, this isn't that. When there are clearly things that it isn't. We got that. That should go without saying for the dummies. There's clearly things like you can't be uncontrolled emotionally. You can't be rash and just going out. There are things that definitely disqualify you from being a leader. But even the best leader, Michael Jordan, was one of the best basketball players in the game. He even missed a few shots. And that's the problem I have with leaders and alpha and shit. When people act like leaders don't make mistakes every goddamn day. They're human. People act like alphas don't make mistakes every goddamn day. They're human. But meanwhile, everybody's got it all figured out how it should be. Everybody's got it all figured out how it plays. And they totally blow past that. And I'm gonna come back to another thing too that you guys said. Also, I used to love this ego shit, Leo shit. Back to some ego shit. When we walk in the room, the whole aura, the whole room shift. Everybody turn around. You come in smelling good. Your presence is special. You're like, goddamn. Sometimes, if you're a shy guy like me, you used to it, but you get nervous because like a lot of times I got cars.
You're
right?
shy?
I actually am. I'm being honest. That's no insecurity if I can admit it. Like I'm the type of guy, I make all my cars nice, right? So people approach me like, man, I love that car. And I tell dudes, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm a very humble brother in that regard. But then sometimes when they keep talking to me, I get nervous. I'm like, because I'm shy. I'm like, okay, thank you for the compliment, but you see my face. Can I have my space back, please? And some dudes will come and say hi and get on. I like them. But some dudes will come and talk. And I'm from LA. I don't know if you're up to something. I would love to love everybody, but that's just not being smart. That back to leadership shit, the alpha shit. So at the end of the day, I need you to give me my space. So again, I'm just showing you how there are different dynamics to alphas and leaders. Y'all got it.
Okay.
Well, all right.
Basically.
Does anyone want to rebut before I move on to the
I just have a question. Did we talk about the quote unquote alpha female yet?
That's where I want to go, unless someone else.
Oh God. Okay. I can't wait for that.
Yeah,
I don't believe in that. Now. I don't believe in that.
Can I say one thing though? Can I say one thing before we move into that real quick? As I said before, you know what I mean, half of the time, we don't really need a Superman. We just need a brave man. And when I say these things, a brave man, a courageous man knows that in spite of the fact that the fear he might be feeling or the terror that he might be feeling within that moment, he still decides to cross over that line in order to do what needs to be done. Now, whether you call that alpha or beta, whatever it is that you call it, at the end of the day, it takes a certain kind of person to see, that there's a blazing inferno and still run in, even with all of your equipment on, even knowing that you might be facing sudden death and going there and doing the job. That's pretty much it.
And if I may, never mistake courage with stupidity. A lot of people do that. Like you don't run in blindly anywhere.
That too.
I wanted to raise a point. When someone said that an alpha male doesn't always proclaim himself. I'm not quoting correctly, but there's a dynamic, and we spoke about it briefly. I've been blessed to be in the presence of Minister Farrakhan. I've been blessed to be around his support staff, and the one thing as well. And so the one thing that I've understood that when even as an alpha, in my own self-identification, it's in submitting myself to a higher power and a belief system like that, I know when I am outclassed by another alpha male. And even in that interaction and being around the minister, there's a deference that he knows who he is and he can see where I'm at. And it doesn't take away from my manhood or masculinity to subordinate myself to him. And so what you find in some circumstances that you have an alpha male that has nothing but alpha males around him, but he happens to be the alpha. So that's another dynamic that exists because you're not going to in the presence of the minister, even at 89, going to outlead him.
Can I say something real quick? I want to chime in.
Go ahead.
I never said I was an alpha male.
You were here for the question. I asked all the men.
I know. I said I'm a good combination of both alpha male and beta male characteristics. That's what I said. I'm a male. I'm a man. I don't need a title that goes with it. I'm a man. That's what I do.
Right.
That's what I am. If in moments of when I have to be that alpha individual, I am. In my relationships, I'm definitely an alpha male. Okay, nobody dictates my relationships other than me. And that's what works best for in my life and in my relationship because I have to live in my frame. That's what I find interesting is like what guys are so hung up on. I got to make sure I'm not labeled a beta male. Do you know? Or I got to make sure I'm an alpha male. And anybody that proclaims they're an alpha male, that's only subjective, that's only opinionated. What really determines whether or not you're a beta male or an alpha male is how people treat you. It's not what you think you are, it's how people's behaviors and your interaction with them. That's what determines it. We can all say we're alpha as shit, we're alpha as fuck, whatever you want to say, but you know what? That we're just projecting to other people what we think we are. But what really determines whether or not this is who you are is how people view you and how they interact with you. And somebody just mentioned that when he's an alpha and he's been around other alphas, but he realized that, you know, that dude is the top alpha. Yeah, that's right. There's a hierarchy in this. You know, I'm alpha. You can say I'm alpha as hell, but guess what? When I'm around Callum Arnold, I'm working for him, and he's my alpha in that scenario. That's my work environment alpha. Okay, or when I'm working with Mekhi Phifer, I'm bigger than him. I could break him in half, but guess what? That's the alpha in that scene. That's who I'm working with, and there's all that. There's always that.
If I may.
I think that's a great 1 second. I think that's such a great point, because I've seen men, you know what I mean, be boisterous or obnoxious, and you can't tell them that they're not alphas. And I cringe. I just want to get away from them. Where it's the opposite. If he was an actual alpha, I would have been attracted. So similarly, when I mentioned Trump earlier, people say, well, he's an alpha. He's an alpha. I'm like, he's obnoxious. He's disgusting. He's idiotic. I wouldn't be attracted to a man that acts that way. But some people will say, well, no, that's an alpha. And I'm like, no, that's an asshole. And you guys confuse alpha with asshole all the time.
Well, let me say this right quick. I'm gonna say this as well. My name is David Johnson, the asshole. Another conversation. Yes, it is. And let me explain something.
That's hilarious. I didn't know that. Like I could just see David Johnson on the screen backstage. That's funny.
Let me say two things right fast. I'll make them quick. First and foremost, I tell people this. I disagree. Like, I remember I read a book, and I learned this in my life. In life, I had to dumb down my shine all my life growing up. I told you I was shy. This is another reason I was shy. I told the truth. I got in trouble every time for telling the truth. I'm like, it's funny how people tell you to tell the truth. And every time you tell them the truth, you get in trouble. It started making me wonder, was everybody crazy? And then I noticed, as passive as I was, people were always doing things, so it made me aggressive. So I'm still coming to a point where I learned that people want you to dumb down your shine when they're insecure. Like, I have no problem with a person coming up here with full of personality. My supervisors tell me this: you got so much personality, ain't enough personality in this office. Go to the bigger building so you can fill up that room. So I've learned that ultimately, when you're confident within yourself, it doesn't matter to you what the other person is saying about himself. If he may be what he says, good for him. If he is, I hope he is. I hope you're not lying. But your shine has nothing to do with mine. You could say your shine is the brightest sun ever. That won't intimidate me. Now, what I've learned, though, when people tell you shouldn't have to say it, I'm gonna show you how full of shit that is. Sometimes, again, contextualize shit for niggas. There's a time and a place. Sometimes you don't need to. Sometimes you don't have to say nothing. But for most parts, it would be equivalent to telling somebody not to go to a job interview with a resume. Like, why? Like, a resume says what you're doing. And here again, I don't have a problem with you saying 20 times on the panel you can do a double backflip off the roof. Just if it comes to the situation where that has to be tested, do your goddamn double backflip. And I'm gonna be your first cosigner. He said he could do it 100 times, and he did that shit. So what I've learned, in essence, again, if you're secure with yourself, the next man's light shouldn't have any effect on you. And again, if any fool tells you don't go to a job without a resume, just go in there and show him you good at what you do, you a goddamn fool for listening to him. Y'all got it.
So I want to respond. First of all, I want to validate something you said, David, because I've always felt that way as well, where it's like, let me not shine too much because it makes people not like you. So I found myself diminishing myself, right? Like, it's like, I don't want to. No, I don't do it anymore. No, just anybody who knows me knows that. But when I was younger, I was like, well, I don't want to be believe it or not, the prettiest girl in the room, because everybody hates the pretty girl. I don't want to be the funniest girl because everybody hates the girl that's getting attention. I don't want to be the one that's alpha, because then people get intimidated and then these girls won't want to be. So I've done that my entire life. So I completely relate with that. But do you think that because you've experienced that now you're in a stage of overcompensating for that? So now you have to be like, everybody has to know you're here now. Do you think that you overcompensate at times? And it's just a question. I'm not.
No, I got you. Let me give it to you. I got you. Not at all. Not at all. Let me say why. When I talk to God, me and guys have many conversations about people because I was confused because everything the world was saying, it was totally lies. How I know nobody, you can't tell. I experienced. This is my experience. I seen it. I saw other people go through it. And so I'm like, God, all this old shit you be telling me about this old be good shit and people will let other people tell the truth about you. Nobody was telling the truth. They were lying on me. I'm like, where the fuck are these people who tell the truth on you where I don't have to say nothing? So then I learned that, okay, God told me, he said, look, this is what's going to happen with the world. He said, you either deal with me and the world will deal with you for a minute. No matter how good you do, they're going to find something to fall out with you about. He said, then I'll be mad at you, or you can come deal with me and I have your back like nobody else, but the world is going to hate you. So what I learned was, after I learned that is how people are, and I recognize people going to hate you no matter what you do, good or bad, they're going to hate you. Then I learned back to turning my shine down. Then I learned, well, they're going to hate me if humbling it all the way down, contextualized for niggas, sometimes the time and the place. But if for most parts, if humbling it all the way down was the key answer, I was doing that in the beginning. It got me nowhere. It got me shitted on. So I would continue to do that because I want the path of least resistance. But what I learned is they're going to hate me no matter what I do. And if you understand this, let me say this about a Leo. My ego can't grow any bigger. See, this is the beauty about where I'm at now. At the end of the day, because again, I recognize I can do nothing without God. So I'm not around here really believing my own hype. The egomaniac, the narcissist would never give anyone else credit for his giving, his power. I just literally gave it to God. I literally just said without him, I wouldn't be able to do nothing. So when you hear me confident, I'm going to give you a secret, Jen. It's because I know who's with me. And if you understand, you would understand that there's no way that can be narcissism or overcompensating, because I'm clearly giving God all the accolades for my confidence, for my strength, because at the end of the day, he was the one that told me to get off my goddamn knees and stand up like a man, and told me they were going to hate you no matter what. They hated your big bro Christ. They hate me. So at the end of the day, the scriptures say, stand boldly on the truth. And that's exactly what I do.
Okay. So with that said, I'm an atheist. So I don't do the whole like, well, I used to be this and then God spoke to me or whatever. But I respect anyone and their religion. That's your business.
No
but
religion.
I'm not
no religion.
Okay, well, God or whatever. So I'm like, it's not really a secret to me. Like when you're like, oh, I'm giving you a secret. Like I'm self-determinism all day, all night. So I can't relate to, but I understand what you're saying. Everybody needs something.
Let me ask you this, Jen. Would you consider that ego? Let me explain. Let me give it to you now. I'm gonna give it right off. Would you consider what you just said ego? Let me explain. Do you know the probabilities of death human beings face every day? I'm talking about every day. A truck can a truck can hit the corner. You can get hit. You can die of internal injuries. A piano can drop on your head. You can get shot. There's a million ways you can die every day. Probabilities. We talking about by the hour. We talking about by the minute. We talking about by the second. Yet people live 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45 years. So you would have to attribute that. Meanwhile, if you get sick right now, you can't fix yourself. You're going to have to go see a stranger who hasn't been with you none of the time you've been with yourself and get him to give you an assessment. So would you consider the fact that you don't even give knowledge or credence or credit to a creator when clearly you don't know it all? You can't even self-diagnose yourself. Could that be looked at as overcompensation or insecurity?
No, because I deal with tangibles. So I can't go
Everything
to.
Everything is intangible. You know that, right?
No, but it is though for me.
Okay.
Like my point of view, and I don't want to turn this into. I actually had an atheist show. I don't want to turn this as an atheist.
I'll show up to that.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. It's just we just think differently, and that's okay. If I get sick, I go to the doctor. If you get sick, you pray. Different strokes. It's fine.
So you don't think you overcompensate though? Because it was a serious
how is that overcompensation? That's so,
Jen, can I jump in?
Let me say this right quick. I'll give it right to you.
Wait. We all over the place. I don't want to. Let's not conflate. When I said overcompensate, and specifically, I'm not talking about medicine, and I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about personality.
I got you. Let me respond to that.
Religion and atheism, none of that matters. When someone is no different than the child that was bullied in school, all through grade school. And then in high school, I'm going to fuck everybody up now. I'm going to work out and no one's ever going to pick on me again. And then the bullied becomes the bully, right?
Right. What
I say. So that's what overcompensation means. That doesn't mean that, oh, you got sick and you went to the doctor. Do you think you're compensating?
Right.
Like, it doesn't make sense. So let's not get off the tracks. Let's
I
stay
always say, all right, to the topic. I always say I don't believe in alpha females. I never do, and I don't now. I believe a woman who's an alpha female, she's just hella aggressive. That's what I see alpha females for. Because understand something. Let me give you a point. Back to give and take. There can only be one leader as far as man and woman. There can only be one leader. Now, we can work together as a unit. I know you don't believe in God, but I'm going to use that right quick and give it right to you. People thought God, the Holy Ghost, and Christ were the same. They're not. There are three different entities created by God that work in unison. That's what makes them one. They're not all the same. So what I'm saying is, in a nutshell, if you're hella aggressive and your man is hella aggressive. I'm not saying, again, contextualize for niggas. There are scenarios, quite sure a few, where an aggressive man and an aggressive woman might be.
My panel and my chat is usually very intelligent. Every now and then I'll have a troll, but they'll understand it the way you give it. So give it how you want to give it.
I am. So I'm just saying at the end of the day that, again, that's the whole purpose of give and take. And that's why I said, again, I think a woman who calls herself, I've told other women this, I think women who call themselves alpha female, they're just kind of aggressive. And that's the term they choose to use.
Okay.
Can I say something about this topic?
Hold on. Can I dive in? Just, I have 2 points that I want to make.
Okay, jump in, because I know you want to jump in, and I'm going to go into the alpha female thing.
Absolutely. So I want to just jump in and say 2 things. You don't always have to testify for yourself, but you're correct in relationship to resume, and speaking out and speaking up. Circumstances require that. So always remember, truth bears witness to itself. So if you are representing yourself in a very truthful manner, people will know who you are and submit to that. Also, when we talk about the path of least resistance, I want us to embrace a concept that the manhood path is an uphill path. It is a path of resistance, and the resistance is the determination of your growth. So we have to embrace growth and not embrace ease. That's all I had to say in relationship to that.
Embrace.
Can I say just one thing?
Yes, Haran. I know you haven't spoken for a while. Haran always be late.
Well, I just be listening half of the time, man. I just observe and just, me take it in. There's a particular guy who's revered by most men. He's a public figure. He basically showcases a number of beta male traits one would consider beta male traits. He's been taken advantage by women. He cries often during interviews. And this guy is very well respected. This guy is Mike Tyson.
Oh, I was like, who cries?
Are we talking about Will Smith?
Okay.
No,
we're not talking about Will Smith. We're talking about Mike Tyson. Now, I don't believe that we can sit here and debate whether or not, how alpha or even how beta Mike Tyson is, it just is what it is. His resume speaks for itself. But there's one thing when I was younger, I revered, boxers, a lot when I was younger. Him, Marvin Hagler were 2 of my favorites. And one thing about Mike that he said that always stuck with me throughout my life is that everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. So basically, he's saying that whether we can use it within this context, whether you're alpha, beta, or whatever you choose to, promote, or however you choose to refer to yourself, at some point in time, you will be punched in the face. Now, it's pretty much what you...
I just want to interject. By punch in the face, do you just generally mean tested on what you're saying?
Tested or literally punched in the face. You know what I mean? One of those 2 things. Either life's going to test you or another human being is going to test you, either way. And what happens after that is entirely dependent on you. And, it's pretty much safe to say also, that experience will shift you into whatever direction it's going to shift you in. And that's pretty much all I got to say on that.
Okay. Glenn, did you want to say something? Because I want to get into the alpha female. I know David Johnson said he doesn't believe in it. He just thinks it's an aggressive woman. What gentlemen on the panel, what do you think about the quote unquote alpha female? Do you think she exists?
No. I think every alpha female is waiting for an alpha male or a real man to be their partner and lead them. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not saying that women cannot be alpha. I'm not saying that women can't run shows and run the ship and do it successfully. I'm saying that although they can, and all that they may be good at, they desire to have someone else lead. I think a lot of times that women have had to take up this leadership role, not as of desire, but out of necessity. I think every alpha woman is, because she's alpha, is because there hasn't been a man that was quote unquote alpha enough for her to feel comfortable to submit to, or to be a helpmate to, if you don't like the word submit. And I will rest my case there.
I don't have a problem with the word submit around certain people. So we're speaking about alpha female in terms of if a man comes along, because I agree with you, Glenn. I agree, like most women are aggressive and stronger because it's like, well, no one else is doing it, so I might as well do it, right? But I'm talking about alpha female in terms of around a circle of friends or at work or in her family. Do you think that there's one woman that usually runs the show better than the other women, or just completely there is no alpha female? There's just women that didn't have a man around to lead them, so they just turned into these aggressive human beings?
I think it depends on the context that we're talking about it in. Are we talking about it in a relationship between a man and a woman? Or are we talking about it like, and are we talking about it like, oh, is there no alpha women out there? What are you talking about? There's tons of alpha women out there. There's, if you want to use that term alpha, I mean, there's so many female CEOs and owners of Fortune 500 companies now. You have senators. We have a first female vice president. If she was passive and submissive, she wouldn't be the vice president. She had to take leadership. She had to show that she's capable of the office that she holds. So no, it depends on the context that we're speaking of it in. So yes, there's women that can be very much an alpha leader or a leader at any point. We don't have to use the term alpha, but somebody that can take lead. And Harriet Tubman, she was a leader. You know, so there's room for that to be there. I think if you're talking about in relationship context, no, I think every alpha, quote unquote, alpha woman is a woman that's wanting a man to take lead.
I like to ask Jen the question that was asked to us. I like to pose it in reverse. Now, I don't have a beef with it necessarily, but I like to ask Jen, would it be safe to say in the reverse that any woman that says she's alpha, she's really not? She's a woman that we need to get away from?
No, but that's not what I said about alpha men.
No, I'm asking that. No, I didn't say you said that. I said that was kind of, we were talking in regards to that about somebody saying something. If you got to say it, it's not really you. I'm not knocking that. I'm saying, so can that be said about a woman calling herself an alpha female?
Well, if a woman is, absolutely. If a woman comes in to any room and she has to throw her weight around, like, I'm an alpha and I'm here and you're going to listen to what I'm saying. All right. Because when I'm hit, you're not an alpha, babe. Either you went through something, there's some trauma going on, or you feel like someone's not gonna.
Well, what if her position is challenged? What if her position is challenged? Now she was chilling. Now she's being challenged. Now she going, because if that be the case, then why do black women say they're the most smartest? They're the most. Why if talking about what you are, you should let everybody else say it. Then black women should be saying they're the most educated. And I'm just trying to show. I'm showing here that again. This is human beings. I know I'm right. Human beings are innately and purposely biased to the things they like or they agree with and don't agree with. This is why when people have conversations, they can never be diplomatic enough where we can both disagree and still go have a drink like the DA and the public defender do, or the defense lawyer do after they do, because it's not personal. So I've learned that ultimately people want you to subscribe to what they say. They don't really care about necessarily if it's the truth. They'll say they do, but ultimately it looks like people just want people to echo what they feel.
Okay, so if you'll allow me to answer, you'll get the answer. Is that okay?
By all means.
Okay, so an quote unquote alpha female, even though she's being interrupted, will let you get it out. You see how that works? Someone who's not really an alpha female is going to yell over you. Now, I've yelled over some people in the past, but I'm antagonizing them. I do it on purpose.
So that's different.
And I'm very controlled about it. But here's the thing. No one has to subscribe to anything. I agree with you. I can disagree with you tonight. Go grab a drink tomorrow. It's not personal for me. But I'm trying to answer your question, and you keep moving the goalpost.
No,
so let's go back to your original question. Okay. My answer to your original question is, if a woman specifically, because we're on women, is coming in and throwing her weight around and yelling at the top of her lungs and insisting that everybody knows, right, that she's an alpha woman, in my eyes, automatically, I'd say she's a clown. She's
But
not
that's
an
extreme, Jen. You keep taking
But
it to
wait,
extreme. This is why I keep interrupting you.
let me
Because you're
finish.
using extremes. Okay.
But let me finish.
Okay.
And then you move the goalpost and you said, but what if she's being challenged, right? I can answer that as well, right? A true alpha, in my opinion, male or female, okay? If my father was in that situation, and I've seen my father in that situation, I've been in that situation. You want to act crazy? Okay, let's see how far this goes.
So no alpha person is ever declared
even when you're challenged, I'll go back to Glenn's example when the guy was yelling at him at the parking lot. Well, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna remove me? I can.
But what I'm saying is, you
understand?
But listen, what I'm saying, it's what you're basically saying. I'm just saying, I said this earlier. You're basically saying alphas are supposed to conduct themselves the way you deem, and I disagree with that because I remember there was a saying that they said rich men. We had a saying in the Black Manosphere where they're saying rich men wear suits, and I told them no, they don't. I'm a rich man, and I know plenty of rich men. And you know what rich men wear? Whatever the hell we feel like wearing. Now, again, that may not be what a person wants to hear, but that's the goddamn truth. So it doesn't have to be an extreme. Some alphas will come in and say, hey, I'm the boss of this goddamn establishment. This is my house. I've heard plenty of people say this their house because they were being challenged, and they were rightfully so in declaring that they run the house because they were being challenged by somebody who doesn't contribute or run the house. So I think it's just, and I'm not knocking what you're saying. I think it's biased to act like there isn't a time and place where the alpha has to declare they're the alpha. And that just makes sense. Anybody should know there's always a time and a place.
Can I respond to that point real quick?
We can agree to disagree. I have to disagree with there's subcultures of alphas. An alpha is an alpha, right? And a good alpha is like Glenn explained and how Brother Ish was talking about Obama. You can't just
who said that though?
Either. You can't just cookie cut your alpha or the
who says the alpha is the definition of what you just said? Who says?
Listen to me. You cannot cookie cut definitions. I cannot call myself a vegan if I eat cheeseburgers. I cannot say, well, I'm this kind of vegan. I don't gotta be the
there's layers to being an alpha, and you wouldn't know if you've never been an alpha male. You wouldn't know that.
Can I say something real quick?
You can't move the goalpost to fit.
I haven't moved it one time. I haven't moved it.
But Glenn, go ahead. You could jump in.
Okay. There was a point made. If he said the guy had to go in there and say, like, it's my house. I run this shit. My house. I'm the king of my castle. Blah, blah, blah.
My dad didn't have to say that.
Well, he's an exception.
I've never had to say that in my life. And the reason, and here's the thing. Because as soon as I see disrespect, I remove them. I don't care who you are. As soon as there's disrespect, because that's what it is.
No,
because
there's more than one way to skin a cat. You got it.
Yes, there is. But what I'm trying to get to the context of it is that it's the respect of the position. If I have to remind somebody of who I am, that means they have lost respect for me. That means I don't hold that. I don't have that esteem in their eyes. And if that's the case, then my resources are no longer available and I remove them. I don't need to yell at them and tell them, guess what? Because Jesus didn't keep on saying, hey, I'm the son of God. He very rarely.
No, he said that a lot. I'm glad you said that.
Actually, people called him the son of God.
No, he said it a lot.
No, I have a degree in religion from Liberty. He rarely said that he is the son of God. He says, I am who you say I am. When he's being judged by the Pharisees.
He said, he said, I am. And when he was telling the Israelites, I am, they went to try to stone him and he slipped away. I just read this yesterday again. He said he was telling them, I am. He said, even before Abraham, the one Abraham.
Yes, that's what he was referring to. Yes, that's what he was referring to as Godhead.
But listen, he had to run because they were going to kill him because he said, I am. I just read it.
Where?
Want me to get it for you?
Yeah, give me the exact context. What I was trying to say is that people refer to him as you're the son of God. I am who you say I am. But he didn't go around saying, hey, by the way, guess what, everybody? I am the son of God. So I'm the son of God, and you guys need to do what I say. You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't have to, because people who respected him revered him and they gave him that title. They told him,
wait,
they
bro.
affirmed that title. Those that didn't believe, were accusing him. And that's why Pontius Pilate said, I wash my hands of this. I don't see no crimes that this man's committed.
Watch this, bro. Watch this. Does God constantly declare who he is? Because if we're going off of your strategy and you agreed with me earlier, he's the number one God. Does God, I got you already. For you to say anything, that just means you in denial, bro, because I got it. God states his name and who he is every time all through that thing. Not matter of fact, so much so, y'all would probably call this an egomaniac. So much so, if you take any of his credit, he'll punish you for that. He's big on getting his credit. Check and mate. I got the script.
Okay. Can I answer your question? And I'll just quick.
Really quickly, Glenn. You know what's funny? To his point, we've always said if God did exist, he's a very much a narcissistic, tyrannical
Okay,
asshole.
let me explain.
He is kind of how we look at it. He would.
No, let me explain.
We do.
Can I explain? Most of the time, when in the Bible, when God is referencing who He is, you have to understand He's speaking to different generations. Okay, He's speaking. His relationship with Abraham was different than his relationship with the people of Moses. His relationship with the people of David's time was different from the people of Adam and Eve. So yes, there's a lot of references where I am this, I am that, I'm Jehovah Jireh. That yes, there's a lot of. You have to understand he's talking to different generations. It's not like he's talking to the same people. And the same people didn't know who he was.
That doesn't change it. He was bragging. Even Jen just
agreed. It wasn't bragging. I agree with what you're saying. It's not bragging.
Let me just say this. Listen, in our eyes, it would be. Let me say this. I say God brags because he has the right. He is the reason why everything you exists. He says that I create the dark and the light. I make dead. I make alive. So in essence, it only makes sense why he has the right to brag. A lot of times we don't have the right to brag. Context for niggas. It's because we're not responsible for some of the things we want credit for. I definitely agree with getting credit for things you do, but there's things I literally did. I still give God the glory for because I've studied enough to know he wants all his credit. You'll hear me say I did something and in mid-sentence, I'll go correct.
I hear what you're saying.
Wait, hold on. I'll say correct.
Hold on. I just wanted to get it.
I'll give it right to you.
David Johnson, hold on, because you're way too combative, Alpha. You're way too combative.
Because I'm trying to
I hear what you're saying.
I'll give it to him. Wait. Let me just say this right quick.
You gotta move on.
I hear what you're saying, and I agree with you to an extent. And we could totally have a conversation, and I would love to have a conversation with you and dive deeper into this. But I really think Jen wants to bring it back to the focus. And what I was trying to say is that if you have to constantly remind everybody who's the alpha in the dynamic, then I really think you have to question whether or not you are the alpha in their eyes. Because if you have to remind people that you're their alpha or you're the alpha in that environment, then in their eyes, you might not be really the alpha.
Well, that's like saying everybody will give you credit where credit is due. And we live in a generation where people uses the word hater all the time. People are not going to, let me say this. If the majority of the world was good, it would reflect that. If the majority of the world was smart, it would reflect that. The majority of the world reflects they're not that smart. The majority of the world reflects they're not that good. So we need to stop with this. If you do the right thing, people come and give you credit. Those are the small minority. I can count on two hands out of all the people I know who were people who were really good, who were really respectful, who really understood and gave credit where credit is due, versus all the majority of the rest of the people who don't give you credit for shit you do. Not only do they not give you credit, they'll lie on you. There's a saying, they whisper your success and they broadcast your failures. These are facts.
Let me explain it like this. And I agree with you. I hear what you're saying. There's a lot of what you just said that I agree with. Let me explain it this way. If Jen, since you're the only girl on the panel, I'm just gonna have to use you. And I don't mean that in a bad way. If Jen and I were in a relationship, I don't need to go around tell everybody that I'm her man. She will make sure that everybody knows that I'm her man. And it would be in the way, out of respect, it'd be in the way that she would be carrying herself around in her interactions with other male. She would not want to jeopardize her place in my life.
That's not
if
what
she
alpha
had the
female
respect.
would do.
Yes, no, an alpha female, a real alpha female would want a man that she could have that feeling for. Absolutely.
So then she's not
Now,
an alpha then if she's laid back.
That's not true. That's not. Let
that's
me say this. Let me say this. I'm gonna say this very, very, very succinctly. I've been with alpha females. I believe myself to represent as an alpha male, not just because I have to proclaim it, but just so for context of conversation. A woman who has leadership characteristics, who is assertive, who is intelligent, who is beautiful, who is healthy, all those different dynamics that we would characterize in this context of this conversation as an alpha female will fall into a submissive role with a man that falls into his role. And you're absolutely correct in relationship to that. That makes her an alpha female because she understands who she's with and who she's partnering with and how to play her position. There's not a submissive position because there's certain points when she may have the right perspective in an environment, but she knows where where and how to move. So
yes, and that's what
this saying, and pardon me for cutting you off there. This saying that an alpha female, she won't do this if she's that this and those sometimes are not alpha females that you're looking at. You're looking at women who are loud, abrasive, or injured female, but they're not truly an alpha female because an alpha female is very confident. We'll utilize the Obama since we all commonly are aware and see their public lives. Michelle Obama falls in behind Barack all the time. But at the same time, when it comes time for her to step up and lead, there's no one that would deny that she is not an alpha female. But you see that she subordinates herself in the context of the organized collective that she has, which is her family, and she knows her role in that family. And she knows that he, as the male and the head of that family, he is in leadership position and he has leadership responsibilities and he is owning his responsibilities, even in periods of times when she made more money than him. So there are characteristics and behaviors that we have to identify. So I don't want to monopolize this whole point, but it's right on time with what we're talking about. An alpha female will submit to an alpha male.
That's what I was saying. That's
Can I say
exactly what I
something?
was
Can I
saying.
say something? Can I say something? Can I say something?
I disagree.
To play on what Brother Ish is saying, me personally, in my travels, I've dated and attracted most alpha women who are, in leadership roles, women who are highly intelligent. I think that's another factor we don't often discuss, how high IQ women aren't necessarily appreciated and understood as much as they should be in our society. And when I'm with these particular women, they have no problem, being feminine with me. One of the things that I try to do is I try to create safe spaces for them to tell them that this is a space for you without judgment, without any pressure of you having to be, something that you don't want to be within the moment. You can take whatever is on your shoulders and you can rest on mine. If you create that environment that this person is safe, then her femininity will show without a problem. One of my, favorite characters, in terms of television was Claire Underwood. The way that she operated, with Frank Underwood. I'm speaking towards the show House of Cards, if anyone's familiar with that. She's a solid example of the kind of women that I personally attract, or that I'm into. Because at the end of the day, look, listen, man, say what you want, but any man, there's going to come a time, unfortunately, that life happens, and you might be in a very vulnerable position where your eyes close for a remarkable, amount of time. And when you wake up, you don't want to, find out that the woman that you basically entrusted your life and your resources in basically sold off your legacy for a can of beans. We have to really think about, the women that we get involved with. Can they provide, solid and great counsel and help us with our own blind spots? Because every man has blind spots. I really don't want to hear that. Every man has blind spots. And if your woman really knows you, she knows your blind spots. That's it.
Amen, amen. I
Peace.
wanted to, can we go into, you want an alpha, but can you keep one? These personalities are a certain way, right? Everybody on the panel is like, I'm an alpha, I'm an alpha, I'm an alpha, including myself, right? Some of us have put forth, there is balance in my alphaism. So do you think dating someone like us is different than dating someone that doesn't exactly have those personality traits? You want an alpha, but can you keep one? I know I have a very strong personality. I like things done a certain way. I like to command the room, and I need things, you know what I mean, where I need them. And I'm usually the go-to person, not only in my family, but my friends, people. I'm the youngest of four, but I'm the sibling that is always getting called, like, this is what's going on, and I have to go on what's happening. Okay, you go over there, you go over there. What happened? You know, to that point, I'm sure you gentlemen are the same in your lives. You think it's hard to keep us happy or be with us romantically. You want an alpha, but can you keep one?
I honestly don't think that most modern women could honestly keep a true so-called alpha male in this current culture that we live in. And the reason why I say that is that if alpha males are so rare, right? If they're as rare as it is, because according to some statistics, is that women want the top 2% of the male population. Those are the quote unquote alphas. They look good. They're well established. They have their own, thing going for themselves. They're the famous guys, the well-educated guys, or you know what I'm saying? Those are the top 2% that are above 6 feet and all that other stuff, or top 20%. Most women aspire to wanting those guys. But if look at across the board, most of those guys are single. And they're single because one, they don't want to change their way of life to appease other people. And it's not, you can say that's selfish or whatever. I don't necessarily think that unless you accept your role, most women don't like the necessary role that they would have to play for a so-called alpha male in this context, in this time of our dating culture and society. Personally.
Which is please, let's start. Which is what would be her role to stay loving?
Okay, for me, I can only speak for me and my perspective. Okay, I've always say this. Me and Alpha Villain have talked about this several times. Peace over pussy. Okay, if you don't bring me peace, I don't care how good your pussy is. I will remove you from my life very quickly. My days and time on this earth are numbered, and I'm not going to spend them arguing and dealing with somebody that's confrontational. So for me, it's peace. Okay, if you bring me peace, you don't have to be my peace. I don't want you to be my peace, but I don't want you to fuck up my peace. Okay, you help facilitate my peace, but you're not my peace. But if you bring me confrontation and strife, and you are combative with me all the time, that's not attractive to me. That's not attractive to me, and I will not. I mean, I've known some very beautiful women, and because of their attitude, I would not interact with them sexually, even though I had the opportunity. I just wouldn't let it go. I couldn't, because to me, the most sexiest thing about a woman is the peace that she brings to a man. And I'm not saying that she has to be a doormat and lay and be submissive. No, but it's the peace that she sees. She is the person holding him up while he's out there doing what he needs to do to support them. And that's beautiful to me. And I don't think a lot of modern women could actually accept that role of not necessarily being in the spotlight and taking that place. They want to share the spotlight. And honestly, a helpmate doesn't need to be in the spotlight. The only person that a helpmate or a good partner should want to have acknowledgement by is their partner. And I think a lot of women these days, they want to be that dynamic duo. Everybody wants to be a Barack and Michelle. Oh, she's a powerful woman, he's a powerful man, and they make it work. They're an anomaly. That's not every case. They found a balance that works for them, and it's worked for as many years as it has. But that's something to aspire for and wish upon that you want. But that's not every relationship in those dynamics. That's why I call it an anomaly. But I don't think most women could play the role that they would need to play for a true quote unquote alpha male. And by the way, I hate the term alpha male. I just like to call it either you're a man or you're not a man. And it's just easy as that. You know, because it's all like either you're a real man or you're a boy. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's
or
how
I look
at it.
Or
a male. Yeah. You're a man or you're a male. And then this whole alpha male, like, come on. It gets real fuckery real quick.
So just really quickly, a question on your points. When you say, you know, you wouldn't want someone, because we're all individuals, so it's different for everybody. So when you say you wouldn't want her to also want to be in the spotlight, what does that mean, a spotlight? Do you mean running your home? Do you mean
no? Like it's like we all have a role to play. We play our position, right? If it's like this, what we have done in our society, and which has been a good thing and a bad thing at times, is that, you know, we have empowered women, and that's been great. But what we have done by empowering women at times is that we have what comes with power and that level of, you know, respect also comes with a lot of responsibility, you know. And culturally in our society, what we have done is that we have given them power, but they have not taken the responsibility that comes with that power. And so we give, for example, do you guys remember in the 1940s, 1950s, that divorce rates were really low, right? We could all agree that divorce rates were low. Nowadays, divorce rates are through the roof. I think it's exactly 50% or 49% of most marriages end in divorce. Well, a lot of factors have changed over the years. Okay, you had birth control that liberated women's sexuality in a sense, that, you know, she could take a pill and not risk getting pregnant. But the responsibility or the consequence of having sex is that you run the risk of getting pregnant, and then there's a child that you have to take care of. Right? That's a responsibility. But when we have facets that remove responsibility, but we give them empowerment, what we have done is that we have given them, they have power that they don't understand the severity of the power at times. And I'm not trying to say that women are not responsible. I'm not trying to say that, but I'm saying if we look at who's the number one sex that causes the most divorces, women divorce their partner 70% of the time. And now they get alimony, they get child support, and I understand why that in some cases it's a good thing, but just because you don't want to be with your husband no more, you decide to divorce him and take him for half the things that he's owned, you know, that's the responsibility of the marriage failing now is on him, not on her, when it should have been on both. So what I'm saying is, like, that's where I'm saying it's hard I think for women to understand at times that the role that they would have to play to be with an alpha male is what they would consider to be a submissive doormat. And I don't think that's they have the very negative and tainted imagery of what an alpha male truly wants in a woman. And I'll just rest there.
Okay, David, you wanted to jump in. What would it take to keep us?
Okay, first let me explain. Now, here's the difference versus talking, and it's gonna sound cocky, but it is what it is. I deal with experience. Here's the difference: talking what you think versus actually doing it. Not only have I dealt with a lot of women, I was actually in I'm an Israelite. Another conversation. I've actually been in multiple relationships.
That's why you yell. No, just kidding.
Yeah, you know it. You got it. Listen, it's passion. But listen. versus what I think. I've actually been in multiple.
You should have said that at the beginning.
Right. I did. I threw you that bone on purpose. I knew you was going to enjoy that. I did that on purpose. I know what I'm doing. So listen, I actually, not only have I been with a lot of women, I've been in multiple relationships at one time. And I'm talking about where I was in with 3 women and then I got rid of 2, kept 1 and got 2 more. So I actually did this, lived with at least 6 different women living with me. We had we had spots with both our names on it or they lived with me. And what I learned through my experience, and then I looked beyond just my experience, I looked at Dr. Dre's, I look at a lot of stars. And what I look at is what happens is dealing with being an alpha and leadership deals with a portion of control. It deals with there's some control in there. To be the alpha and the leader, you're going to have some control. And what I've learned about most human beings, I don't care what nobody says, people always say they'll just break down. That's a goddamn lie. Human beings, especially with society motivating people to be, you a leader, everybody gets a trophy. This is an entitled society. This is not this is not a humble society. This is an entitled society. So there's nowhere in the world we live in an entitled society, and you got people who are willing to play the back seat. See, at one point in time, women used to enjoy riding in the Ferrari and the Testarossa. They enjoy being in the passenger seat. See, now they want to drive that bitch. They don't want to ride. They want to get your ass in the passenger. Women ask me all the time. I got fly cars. They always ask me, "Can I drive?" I'm like, "Girl, you know, goddamn well, most women can't drive. I'm not letting you drive my car," but that's what they always want to do. So there's a reason why a car has 1 steering wheel, because it comes to a time where a person has to trust the person you with. Now, I ain't saying you got to trust everybody, but if this is your man, you're supposed to be trusting him, or why are you with him? Something I learned, Shaquille O'Neal is one of my personal friends. And I remember, rest in peace to Kobe, when he was alive, and we would have conversations with Shaq. And I would ask him, I'd be like, "Man, what the hell is going on with you and Kobe?" And he would basically say, "Little bro," and I saw it in the movie Brooklyn's Finest, where Don Cheadle, he said, "Goddamn Kobe, he getting tired of playing the 2-man." That's exactly what Shaq said it was. He was like, "I'm trying to let bro know he can get his shine, but he's so busy trying to shine, he's not passing it to the other players. There's other men that are open, and he's costing us games." This is where a lot of that Shaq and Kobe beef came in, and it was, again, Shaq told me he had slammed Kobe against the lockers. Now, y'all would say leaders don't have to flex. I disagree. When challenged, you have to. If you never challenge me, of course I don't have to flex. Shaq was a cool leader till Kobe started trying to challenge him. So coming back to women, same thing. Women don't want to play the 2-man where they're in the submissive position. They don't want to be in the passenger seat. They want to drive the fat car. They want to pull up. They want the accolades, and there lies the problem. And from most of my experience, the same thing that made the women fall in love with me is the same thing that made them fall out of love. It was the same exact thing. I watched it time and time again, and then I looked at other people's lives, other men who were good with women. I saw the same thing. After a while, after you get tired of following orders, you get tired of listening, you want to take charge, you want to call some shots. I remember in the movie Godfather, Fredo said, "I like no stuff. I'm not like stupid." At some point in time, most people in this day and age, they want the driver's seat, and there lies the problem.
That was very well said. Whoever said that was very well said, because that was the point that I was trying to make, and you nailed it on the head.
I disagree.
Jen, you're muted.
Hold on.
You're muted, Jen.
I know my mouse was over there. Okay, so I just want to say really quickly, I don't think that we're saying that, and I don't want to get too off topic, but I don't think that we're saying that alphas don't have to flex, because you keep saying, well, people saying alphas don't have to flex, and I disagree.
People have been saying that all goddamn day.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that. No, see, but you're misconstruing.
No, we're not you. Everybody else.
Flex. Of course, they have to respond if it's a situation, right?
That's a flex.
If for instance, no, it's not a flex. For instance, I go back to Glenn's situation when he told the guy he would remove him, and he could. Had the guy not left or challenged him physically, then he would have to respond.
Flex.
Right? No, that's not a flex.
Listen, tomato, whatever floats your boat.
It's not a tomato. Again, you just can't give words different meanings, and men do that a lot.
Literally flexing his muscles, Jen. If he had to move that dude, he would literally have to flex
flexing his muscles. Flexing his muscles.
If he had to move the guy, that's physical, Jen. That's muscles.
I'm gonna wait for you to finish.
Okay, no, I'm just saying if he had the physical do it, that is flexing deals with action. If you move a person, if you have to remove a person, that's an action.
Okay, you're done?
Yes.
Okay, so flexing, Okay, as I've always known it, and I'm sure everybody in the chat and on the panel will agree, flexing on somebody. I'm from New York. Oh, he flexing over there with his car. He flexing with his shirt off. Flexing, okay, is peacocking. Flexing would have been Glenn taking his shirt off, hopping up and down and saying, if you don't leave here, I'm gonna beat your ass. That's flexing. But Glenn responding to someone who doesn't want to go when he's being told to go, responding to that, and that guy confronting him physically and him responding physically is not a flex.
Jen, the definition of flex.
Flex that way. That
the definition
is not
of flex.
A
okay,
flex.
listen. Let me just get the definition. Let me just get the definition.
Say that. Wait a minute. You're trying to say that yelling, screaming, and coming.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Flex. That's just being an alpha.
I didn't say that. You said that. That's a straw man. I never said yelling.
Flex.
No, listen to the definition flex. Put a skill, talent, or ability to use. If he's a bouncer, he's gonna have to physically do something to that dude. That's a flex.
Actually, in response to the person not leaving.
Again, when you're challenged, you have to flex. I agree.
Not a flex. That is not a flex. We never use the word that way. We have never used the word flex.
We do in Cali. That's what we do in Cali. We do in Cali like that.
Well, I'm not from Cali. I'm from New York.
Why? What does that? Does that change?
And when we say somebody's flexing, it's somebody showing off in a certain type of way. It's not somebody responding to a physical. No.
Well, listen, what we would say, we said when somebody would flex, how you said, we agree. We said it the same way in Cali. Then, like, say some nigga pull out his gun. In Cali, that's you flexing. Or say some dude act tough because his partner's around. Or you flexing because your boy's around. We say the same thing.
Exactly.
That deals with action. That's an action. You start acting like you want to fight because your partners are around. That's flexing.
You are agreeing with me. And then trying to act like you're disagreeing.
No, I'm saying we say what you say.
You just said he's pulling out his gun because his friends are around. That's flexing.
No, I said if he's pulling. Listen. I'm saying if he pulls out a gun, he can have no friends. He's flexing because he has his pistol. Then he can show up and act like he wants to fight because his friends are around. What I'm saying is flexing deals with. But listen, I just read you the definition. The definition, I agree. Putting a skill, talent, or ability to use. That's an action.
What?
Okay.
So let me say, can I dive in? Can I dive in really quick?
I wanted a real quick question, real quick.
But I want to stay on the flexing. I want to stay on the flexing dynamic because I'm
I
from Cali.
do too. I really do too. And that's where I wanted to go on.
Okay.
But go ahead.
So I being from Cali, born and raised in South Central LA, I want to say that flexing is a false action. That means that you're not actually shooting, you're not responding. You're flexing means you're flexing your muscles, you're showing, you're not doing. So in the usage of the urban vernacular, that's what that represents in the history and context of the phrase. So I just wanted to respond to that point. That's what flexing is, and that's what it commonly means.
I ran with gangs, and we said when you put out guns or you picked on somebody, you jumped on somebody because your partners was around, we considered that flexing, along with what Jen say. We said something else. Two things can be right at the same time. We don't everything. I've been saying all day, balance, beta, alpha. I didn't say disagree, balance. I'm saying right now, flexing, being able, you flexing, showing muscle, showing off, or actually putting some type of physical action. I'm actually saying both, but y'all are so busy trying to fight me, y'all ain't here.
So look, wait a minute. Let Glenn.
Can I ask a question now?
Yeah, let Glenn respond to the flex thing, and I want to talk to the subject. David, you take us way, like you always.
Now,
I'm actually great at this.
Is it David? Is it David?
Yeah, David Johnson.
Johnson. So if let's say me and you were in a bar, and you bumped into me by accident, and you said sorry, and I'm like, man, let's go outside. No, fuck that. You spilled my drink. We're going to go outside. And then we go outside. Are you flexing in that situation? No, because if I'm the instigator and I'm the one that's flexing, I'm trying to stunt on you. You are responding to me. You're standing your ground. That's
we're actually doing semantics right now, believe it or not. Like at the end of the day,
I'm asking, like,
if you challenge somebody, that you cause them to have to pull rank. If you challenge anybody, you challenge the cops, they're gonna remind you they cops. Like, we gotta stop.
Yes, but that's not flexing though. That's just standing your authority.
Listen, nonetheless, if you challenge somebody's authority, they're gonna have to flex. Use whatever word you want. Show you, prove to you, with it, whatever you want to call it. Tomato. At the end of the day, you can't challenge a person's authority and think they're gonna just sit quietly about
You're
it.
right. I agree with you, but and you're right. We may be talking semantics, but I think
That's all
words
we're
are
doing.
very important. I
I
think
agree.
words are very, very important. You know, so by saying, a flex, I agree with the definition and both definitions. Yeah, it's a force. It's a show of force,
Right.
or it is affronting, or
I
trying
agree.
to intimidate
Showboating.
without
Showboating.
actually doing anything. I
Right.
think it could be both, but at the
Right.
same time, I think there's a difference between if you are challenging my authority and I have to now at this point display my authority. I'm not flexing. I'm doing what I said I'm going to do, and I'm following through with what my position is. I'm actually being responsible to my title, and I don't think that's a flex. I think it is more if you want
some
to.
people would consider it a flex, though. I just want to
That's
say that
fine.
it may not
That's
be that
fine.
to you. Some people will, though.
But
It's
I
not.
think, I think that for the consensus of the panel, I think that they would. I'm not can speak on them, but I believe they agree with my definition of it. Not saying your definition is wrong. I'm saying for the sake of this argument and this conversation, I think the consensus of that term is in the context of what I'm using it in.
Okay. All right. Let's just say this. Let's
In the
move past the
chat,
flex.
and
At
in
the
the
end of the
chat.
day,
But
let's
no,
just move
this is
past
what
the
we're
flex.
gonna do. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna move on from flexing.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay?
Jesus
We're
Christ.
gonna go
End of
back.
the day, people are going to challenge you point blank, period.
Move on from flexing. The entire chat and the entire panel agrees flexing, okay, is acting like you're gonna do something, or peacocking, or acting the ass. Everybody agrees, and it's okay that you're the only one that doesn't make you an ogre or a monster. You're
So
just
while
the
we
only
focus on
one.
it, can we move on then?
You're
Let's
just
move on.
the only one. You're the anomaly. That's great.
All right, beautiful. Let's move on.
Haran, yeah, I said we're gonna move on. Haran, please tell us. You want an alpha, but can you keep them?
I'll speak. I'll speak from my perspective.
Yes.
One of the issues that I run into is that, first of all, I'll talk about what the kind of person I am. I'm a very ambitious person. I'm just constantly looking for the next mountain to climb, either in my career or in terms of self development and so on and so forth. So there's times when I do get tunnel vision, when I just get locked away into what I need to do in order to get to the next level. And there's a lot of times I don't think people take into account the amount of hours and the amount of dedication and the amount of energy that is required in order to get to the next level in one person's life. You can be mediocre, you can be, and this is not trashing anybody, whatever your definition of average or mediocre is. I'm not getting into that kind of debate. I'm speaking about, where I'm trying to go and what I'm trying to obtain requires a degree of focus. Now, with that being said, sometimes I'm just not present in the relationship as much as she would want me to be. I have been guilty of being emotionally unavailable because I'll be clear, sometimes when I'm locked in that phase and that motion, sometimes that area of me is basically shut down. And that's something that I got to particularly work on, because in the beginning of the relationship, I can understand, like, when I get involved, you know, I tend to be romantic. I tend to be do certain things. I tend to, do a lot of these things. And I can understand if she, misses those things. But what I would need is a person who understands and sees that the direction that I'm going in, it's not entirely selfish. It's really for the greater good of everyone involved. A better me, it benefits everyone involved. It benefits her, it benefits her children, benefits everyone. And I just think a lot of times, people don't take that into consideration. So you're called cold, you're called all these other things. It's just at the end of the day, I would just need more understanding of, hey, this is where I'm trying to go. Please be my peace as I go there. I'm not interested in getting into any kind of argument in regards to how I'm getting there. And yes, I will try my best to, be a little bit more present as we, you know what I mean, take time with you and I. That's pretty much it.
Can I just chime in? I gotta
Jen,
go.
Jen,
I gotta go real quick.
Jen,
I'm about to get on set,
you're
so we gotta
you're
get going.
you're
But I
muted.
want to
You're
say
muted.
this.
Sorry, go ahead, Glenn.
I just want to say this. I want to say that, you know what? Everybody wants an alpha until the alpha starts doing alpha shit.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
and what it is that everybody hopes that the alpha personality or that person will change for them, that they're so good of a partner, that they're so good at everything, that they're going to make the person change their personality and be less alphaness or whatever. And that is such a misconception that I think a lot of people have, and I would definitely say most women have, when it comes to that, because they're like, oh well, he's a diamond in the rough, you know. Well, I will get him to. He'll see that I'm worthy for him to change, and that's a very sad covert contract that a lot of people into when they get into relationships with somebody that is quote unquote alpha, is that they think that they will be the one to tame the lion,
Yes, and that's where the
and
manipulation
that, or
comes
that
in.
they would be
That's
the
where the
one to get them
manipulation
to
comes.
see
Let him finish because he has
exactly.
to go.
My bad.
And you know, it's sad, but it's true. There's a lot of manipulation that goes on, and there's this that people feel hurt. They're like, oh well, you know, I was so good to them. Or an alpha male or alpha female, however you want to word it, is a person that lives in their own frame and is not willing to sacrifice their frame for nobody, for nobody. And that's what makes the relationship with those type of individuals very difficult. Every woman wants an alpha male until he's not emotionally there the way she wants him to be there. Every man wants and there's guys that want alpha females, and this is a side note. I think the guys that are very attracted to alpha females at times have in some cases have a defect in the sense of they're not up to par. They want somebody else to carry the load for them, and it's almost like they have a mama. They're a mama's boy. They need that stronger woman to tell them how to live their life. And then, unfortunately, if you know any true, very strong, dominant women, they don't want a little boy. They don't want children. They want a man. And I'm going to end with that. So good night, you guys. Jen, thank you for having me on. It was always a pleasure.
Thank you.
I will chat with you later. Fellas,
Good
thank
night,
you
brother.
for the
You, bro.
stimulating conversation.
Absolutely.
Hope
Yes,
you guys
sir.
all have a good night.
You too,
Thank
man.
you.
Be safe.
Peace.
Bye.
AJ, you're back. Brother Ish, what's it take to be with an alpha? I'd like you to touch on what do you think it takes for the average person that doesn't consider themselves an alpha in any way, shape, or form? How does that, as a woman, right? How does a woman keep a man that's quote unquote alpha? Or how do you think a man keeps a woman who's quote unquote alpha? I love that point that Glenn made about like some men need that strong woman.
That's
You would
true,
like.
and there's definitely you know, behaviors that definitely reflect that, and I can see that. I think when it comes to what it takes for a man or male to be with an alpha woman, a strong sense of security. You should never, you know, if you have if you are in and I've watched it, and I'm able to, because I'm in a community of of a group of people, I'm able to observe closely a lot of male female interactions, and very dominant, aggressive, um, hyper male, hyper female environments. That as a, if you have a strong woman, it's not an affront to you. That's more of a, it's more of a, actually a compliment to you. So you don't necessarily need to challenge it or show your dominance in and around her presence, because if she is a strong, dominant, assertive woman and she submits to you, that bears witness to the quality of man that you are. because a strong, assertive woman is not going to submit to someone who's weaker or not masculine enough. Now she may, and she will denote it based upon her behaviors in relationship to how she interacts with him. If she treats him like a child, says, "Come on, little da da da, we're gonna go over here," and if she directs him in that manner, then you'll see that in those behaviors. But if she defers to your leadership, or she defers to your presence, or she's respectful in your presence. I've been in relationships where I've been in a room where we're in a party or even working together in a professional environment. And I work in the film industry. I'm an AD. So I've worked side by side with my partner that I was in, and no one knew that we were in a relationship, because it was not relevant to bring that out into the environment. And at any point, if I was needed for whatever reason, there was a deference that was there. There was an automatic respect. She would never disrespect me in that environment. And so that's a reflection of confidence. If you can confidently be in an environment where you do not have to kind of proclaim your identity, there's a degree of security and confidence between the two parties in their partnership. But also, when it comes to submitting to a woman who may be considered an alpha female, she may lead at a certain point. Again, the best knower always leads. She may have the wisdom for the moment, and for that moment you can defer to that. That doesn't take away from your leadership abilities or your role.
Okay, so I have a last question. I'm going to put us all in the hot seat. I'm gonna flip it on us. Do you think, because it's something I've thought about often, do you think, David, I'll start with you. Do you think that, and I'm just using the term alpha because that is the term that that we all know it to be, right? It's used, so I'm using it. But do you think that as an alpha, we're not really meant or built for relationships, but we try to keep having them? Do you think we're just not built for it because most alpha men are very, they're very desired. And then I know on my side, alpha women, we want to do certain things and live a certain way. Like, do you think that we're just not built for that and we're better off alone? Like a lot of the alphas that we do see that are, wealthy and famous, they jump around or they stay single forever or their marriages are always dissolved. Do you think it's just better for an alpha to be the fuck alone?
That's a great question, and Jen, I really, salute to you for that. That's a great point, because I've often contemplated that, because when I was looking at my situation, I was a great person. Like, make no mistake, I said again, I was passive. So this is how I know. Nobody can fool me. See, people always think what they see now, this is how I've always been. I saw when I was passive, I got shitted on for sure. So I'm like, okay, you can't tell me if I was passive, what we call humble today, that would give me, that's all I got shitted every time I was that. I didn't start getting respect from people till I started getting in their ass. Now, again, balance. I didn't go overboard. I recognize I'm not the person who gets angry at the people who haven't done anything. I save my anger for the person who fucked up. I come home, I could be mad at somebody at work, come home just as sweet to everybody I know. Hey, how y'all doing? You'd never know I had an issue. And if I did, I would tell you, hey, right now I'm not feeling too good. Give me a little space. So I'm not saying I'll give you a heads up. I'll never take it out on somebody. So what I learned from dealing with that, knowing that I was being good, and I'm like, at the end of the day, most of the people that were talking shit, that's why I know people, the world it's full of cap. Most of the people I did things for, they were totally unappreciative. I'm talking about damn near, it seemed like the more I did for them, the more they stabbed me in the back. I said, okay. So then what I learned was, I didn't get to the point where I said, okay, I just won't help anybody. I've seen people do that. I go, no, you help the people that have your back and that help themselves, or that I'm big on reciprocation. You don't help the unappreciative people. So what I learned was, okay, people meet you, and like, what the brother said earlier, people want to manipulate you into what they want you to do. And there lies the problem. It's not that we have to be alone. Now, I recognize this. I'll say this again. I'm used to being alone. For most parts, I was an only child. So I'm used to doing my own thing. Whereas I see some people just can't be alone. So they hop from relationship to relationship. And this is men and women. This isn't a gender thing. They hop from relationship to relationship because they don't have the skills or the fortitude or here again, or the self-esteem or the self-love. Because again, that's why a person can never tell me I'm insecure. I love being alone, because when I'm by myself, there is no bullshit. See, I noticed it's always trouble when I'm involved with other people. And I know it ain't me because I'm going, okay, listen, I know it's you because what you're doing to me, I wouldn't dare do to you. There's no way in the world I would do this to you, and you did this to me. There's no way in the world after I did this to you, you would do this to me. So I don't need anybody to tell me who the problem is. I noticed who it is. So to an extent, to answer your question, I've learned in a lot of cases, there are moments, a lot of moments where we will be alone, but we don't have to be. What it takes is a certain type of person to be with a leader. And that's just the proof that most people don't want leaders. This is why so many leaders, quote, alphas, do have to be alone. It's not because we don't know how. Like for me, I'm cool with anything. I don't mind you being human. I'm just an unnecessary bullshit type of person. I don't like unnecessary bullshit. I understand we make mistakes. I give credit to people in the process of trying. You make a mistake. That's different versus neglect, versus you just not even trying, or you half-ass trying, or you spitting on the try. See, now I know you full of shit. So that has nothing to do with me, and I'm gonna get off in your ass when I find you doing that. So to answer your question in a nutshell, yes, a lot of times we do have to be alone due to the facts. I always say the curse of being ahead is having to wait for everybody to catch up. That's the curse of being smart. That's the curse of being intellectually ahead. So in those cases, you have to be patient and understanding that the majority of the world just will not understand you. This is why I pushed back so strongly about everybody acting like alphas and leaders are embraced. That's a lie. I got it.
Great point, Haran. I was gonna call on you next anyway. Great point, especially the latter of the comments. David, thank you. Haran.
I'll be honest. I think I'll have some semblance. I'll most likely always have some semblance of a relationship, but I don't think I'm not the settle down type. I'll risk the relationship for a shot at the title. I will. And I know that.
That's deep, man. Listen,
if I choose the relationship and miss the shot at the title, it'll eat me up for the rest of my life. And you won't want to be in a relationship with me anyway. Because it'll always nag me. There's a scene in you're a movie buff, right, Jen?
Yes.
You know what I mean? You remember the diner scene in Heat?
No,
go live. Okay.
I remember.
Where De Niro and Pacino are sitting down, and these are two guys who are just amazing at what they do, top of their field and so on and so forth. And Pacino asks De Niro, asks him if he has a woman, and he says, yeah, whatever. And then he basically digs in a little bit more. De Niro said, he basically tells her, De Niro's a thief, by the way, and De Niro basically told him, I tell my wife, I'm a salesman, or blah blah blah, so on and so forth. But the point he was making is that, okay, well, what are you going to do when you basically have to choose the score over your woman? And he said, God told him that, if I remember correctly, he said, do not allow yourself to get so attached to something that you are not ready to drop it within 30 seconds if you feel the heat coming around the corner. And I've lived very much my life that way.
Yeah.
The mission for me, the mission and the score is all there'll ever be. And I stand firm on that. People can say whatever they want, but that's who I am. And I'm very clear. One second, brother. Okay, I'm very clear with the women that I get involved with, that's who I am. They know that. A lot of them try to deter it from me and tell me, well, you just ain't never had it right, you ain't had good enough pussy, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you know how these things go. But then when they realize,
I've heard that from guys.
Yeah,
that's you ain't never, like, dude, I've met
and that's it. But it's like, yo, like, no, when it boils down to it, and you find out that I chose the job opportunity or the score over you, now it's a problem. But I told you that what was going to happen. And that's where people run into, basically, they run into situations where they really sabotage themselves dealing with a guy like that. And that's it.
Bro, you know, some
You
people
wanted
would
to
say,
interject before I throw it to Brother Ish?
Well, no,
yeah, I
let me
did.
say, yeah, what do you say, Jeff?
No, I was gonna say I'm just not me. I totally understood the context, so I'm just for the sake of conversation. Some people would say that if you there's certain thing, and I'm quite sure again, I understand context, me myself personally, everybody doesn't. That's what I'm saying is some people would consider certain things you walking away from not alpha, not leadership, like certain things.
I'm sure. I'm sure. But you see, but the thing is that what people have to understand, true leadership is, you know what I mean, you make a decision for yourself first. And you're being honest with yourself first. I
Before
can't
the
be
team,
honest with
before
everyone.
the team, I agree. I'm
You know
just
what I
saying.
mean? I can't be honest. I can't be honest with everyone else in the room unless I'm honest with myself first. And if I
Facts.
know I'm not the guy for this particular situation or that particular situation, it's going to be known before the wheels crank. Like, no, 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 go get that guy. Like I said, I told you a situation before, Jen, during one of your shows. You know what I mean? I said it in the chat. You know, I had a girl who, you know, wanted to be with, you know, she was dealing with me and another dude. And on one hand, she had, you know, I mean, she was me. She liked what we had. It was a lot more exciting and so on and so forth.
I remember that.
Yeah, you know, I mean, the other guy wasn't as exciting. But I told her, I'm like, look, listen, sugar, you better go with that dude because there's a life over there for you. I'm not even gonna lie to you. You want a life. You want all these things. You want a number of things. There's a life over there for you. I think you should go in that direction. You know what I mean? And you know, I felt deeply for her, but I had no problem letting her go because hey man, you know what I mean, it is what it is. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to anybody because the relationship she would eventually, you know what I mean, you know, wanted more. I'd have probably pulled back and the relationship would have imploded anyway, and maybe the other dude probably would have moved on to something else. So it's like, you know, don't let everybody lose. You know what I mean? Just, you know, you go find what works for you, sweetheart. And let me just do what I do.
Don Levon, you smart. Brother Ish,
Yes.
can you answer the question, por favor?
Can you repeat the question just so I can answer it correctly?
Do you think, as an alpha female or alpha male, do you think it's best that we just deal with life and we're just happier or just more content or more focused or more whatever you want to say if we're just single? Yet we try to, I wouldn't even say necessarily try, because I think alpha people are constantly sought after. We're constantly desired. And then we kind of like take a break and then pick somebody like, okay, I'll give you a shot. Let's see what you got. But all the while, we're really thinking the goal, the bag, the success, the, you know what I mean? That's really what's at the forefront. But every now and then we fall into, I feel, the tradition of, oh, humans are supposed to be couples. We're supposed to be, you know what I mean? Because other voices are in our head of societal, you know what I mean, standards and shit like that. But do you think it's just best for an alpha to just be an alpha and not keep trying the relationship thing? Do you think it's better for alpha male or female to just be dolo?
No.
And your reason?
Because as a species, we're designed to propagate and evolve. And I think that there's a valuation in the evolution of what an alpha can bring to a partnership and to a family infrastructure.
True.
So I you know, strong families build strong communities build a strong nation. So I work from that premise. So if you have why would you want to not have in the gene, let's go biology, why would you not want to have in the gene pool someone who has risen to the occasion, has reached the apex of who they are, and not reproduce that to continue on? So that dynamic, it's where I believe that we have an issue is, in my personal opinion, is that one, we're in a fallen society, so we're making assessments based upon fallen and
Facts.
dysfunctional people. And what we really have to discover and grow into understanding is how to choose partners, how to pair up an alpha with a alpha, or alpha with a beta, however, you know, the strata is the right design. But it's understanding the proper, or not even the proper, but the best dynamics to create. Because if you look at what was taken from us as a people in relationship to slavery, we were removed we lost the art of war,
Facts.
the art of relationship and how to choose a partner, the art of business and finance, and the art of I'm using the term art, but I shouldn't. But and diet, proper eating and healthful living.
Facts.
That's what makes a people weak and puts them in a subservient condition. So now, when we start to understand that we are, when we start to know ourselves, start to know better ways of eating, start to know the valuation of how to conduct business, then we start to assess, who should I be partnered with? How should I be partnered? What is the best partnership? You know, and maybe it may be a Barack and a Michelle, but it may not be that. It may be a different category. And you know, where one is visibly maybe outwardly dominant, but internally in the home, it's a private, and it's a masculine feminine energy where the male is still the head of the household, but she's a dominant individual because maybe her career or her lifestyle pushes her out front in front of society. She is the vice president, but when she's not the vice president in the house, she may be the vice president
Right.
around the entire country, but in
Right.
the house, she's honey,
Right.
sweetheart, my love, baby, boo, whatever it is. But in in public, in the deference, you defer to that. Don't.
Can everybody hear him but
No,
me?
yeah, I thought it was me. Yeah, it's him. No, you
Yeah.
went out.
I can't hear him. I can't hear him.
Went out.
You went out.
Let me say this right fast, Jim, while he's getting it back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, there you go. My bad. Go ahead. Yes, you got it.
So it again, it's understanding what is the best partnership and how to utilize that partnership. That's the key aspect of it. If you have a partner that works well with you and understands their role and knows how to play in that position, because the prime example, let's use a very dysfunctional couple that was very public, because a lot of couples are, Bobby and Whitney.
Right.
Okay, they were a very dysfunctional couple because of their drug addiction. Okay, but at a certain point, Whitney, who was a larger star and had a greater notoriety and a greater status, still submitted to Bobby to some degree at different points.
No, she
Because
did.
she recognized that he's still a man. He's still
Right.
the male, and he still has the role of the head of the household. And so it is possible in relationship to having the success, but you have to understand how to assess partnership. What is the right partnership for me or for the other person to make that assessment to move forward? That's the bottom line.
Fact.
And if both parties agree and are in agreement, then that's what that you'll find them to be a successful couple.
See, this is why I love my panels. And don't try to bring us back, Ish, okay? We don't need nobody, all right? We get in the bag.
Hey, let me say this right quick off of what Ish said.
I mean, great points. I can't argue with that. I can't.
Well, let me say this too, right off of what Ish said. Like I said earlier, contextualize shit for niggas. The Bible's Ecclesiastes 3 said there's a time and a place, there's a time to hug, there's a time to refrain from hugging. There is a time to be on some rugged individualism. That's when you look around and there is nobody who's willing to help you. Then of course you have to be on rugged individualism. But when you look at strategies, they have sayings like no man is an island unto himself. You look at scriptures in the Bible where God talks about a twofold cord is good and a threefold cord who can break. But it says if you're a one-fold cord and you fall by yourself, who will be there to pick you up? And also the 48 laws of power, which is 18 of the 48 says isolation is a bad personal isolation is a bad personal strategy as it is a military strategy.
Wait, Haran, did you want to say something?
Oh no, I didn't want to say anything.
I thought I heard your voice. What's up, Mr. O? You hella late. Gentlemen, this has been amazing. David, I think this is our first time on a panel, is it?
It is. Yes.
Okay, it was quite eventful. I enjoyed it nonetheless. I think you are an amazing contributor to the panel. I appreciate your point of view. I had no issues with it. We could go to get a drink after.
That's what I'm talking about.
I can agree to disagree. That's what you will get here. Thank you so much, gentlemen. This has really been a fulfilling chat. I hope you enjoyed it, especially with the week we've had on YouTube. You guys are amazing, man. I want to see you again. I will be on tomorrow. I'm doing a town hall to discuss all the YouTube beef and the smoke and mirrors that go on. It's going to be an open panel. It's going to be deep. We're going to reveal a lot of shit. I am breaking my silence about things that are being said that I'm like, no, that's not how that happened. So that's tomorrow, same time. For you already know, Haran. So tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. Gentlemen, if you'd like to come back, I'd love to have you. We will be live tomorrow. I am requiring some cam ups. I would like to see faces. You know what I mean? If you ain't got your lineup, you put a cap on. You know, I would like to have faces. I would like to look at eyes tomorrow because the conversation is going to be very, very deep. But you guys are fucking amazing. You rock, even when we disagree, and I love it. This is grown folk talk. And I appreciate it so much. I appreciate it so much because I'm not that other mess that's going on. I'm actually trying to teach and to learn. I got inspired tonight as well because Ish threw some shit out there, and I'm like, no, I don't want to love nobody. But that's why we're here. We have these conversations, and we're not always going to agree. But as long as we make each other do, I'm cool with that. Okay.
That's
right. I would say one thing, if I can say one thing before I forget.
Absolutely.
Ish, I would love to, sidebar with you at any given time. Have some kind of private conversations about certain things if you're open with that.
Absolutely, brother. I'm part of a brotherhood, and I'm committed to Black excellence and Black liberation. So anytime that you want to build, we can build.
Awesome.
All right, guys. So that was it.
I'm on Instagram. Pardon me for interrupting, sis. Pardon me. I'm on Instagram, a.d_Ishmael.
So you just put it in the private chat? Just put the stoner in the private chat. I can just copy it.
For sure. There you go.
Thank you so much, man.
And I'm also going to, for everybody that was on the panel today, give me an hour because I got to run to something else. I'm going to put everybody's information in the caption. So in case you do want to come back or you're watching this on a replay, just go into the description and I'll have everybody's info so you could find them online. David Johnson, is that your YouTube page?
Yes. David Johnson.
Okay.
Oh, yes. It should be easy to find. Put that in there to pop up.
Cool. So don't forget, guys, hit the like on your way out on the block with Jen on Instagram as well. Tell people about this stream. This was really, really dope. The way we broke it down. We had so many different opinions. And they were all good. So, all right, guys. Good night. Love you all on the block.
All right. Good night.
Bye, babe.
Peace.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. I told you I got content over here, okay? And tomorrow's going to be even more amazing. A lot's going to go down tomorrow, so y'all need to be here. Y'all already know the time. Follow me on the block on Instagram. You already know I'm going to post the little promo for it. And be back here, guys. And it's going to be an open panel. I would prefer people cam up because it's going to be a very important show. So I need faces on this. And that's it, guys. All right. I'll catch you in the streets. Bye. Bye, Mo. Maroon Groot, you hella late. I'm out. Good night. Bye, Bismillah Rabani. All right, guys. I'm out. Support everybody, okay? Support everybody.